"You're not coming to the wedding," Mom texted. "Lily's family doesn't want you there." That was it. No apology, no kindness, just a cold message on my phone. I looked at it, read it again. My coffee sat next to me, getting cold. I thought for a second, then replied, "So, you chose status over family?" No emojis, no sarcasm, just the truth. Then I opened my laptop, logged into the wedding planning site, canceled the venue deposit. It was booked under my name, paid with my card. They didn't even know. And the best part, it wasn't refundable. I closed the laptop and just sat there, staring at the wall. I didn't feel sad or angry yet, just quiet, like something inside me shifted. This wasn't the first time they pushed me aside. It had been happening for years, little things, like missing my birthday or joking at my expense. They made Lily the golden child. I was just the one who got things done. I helped plan this whole wedding, picked the dress shop, found the caterer, booked places for guests to stay. I even made their website. But now, because Lily's dad didn't like my energy, I was out, just like that. They only needed me when it was convenient, and now that they had what they wanted, they left me behind. So I took action. I opened the shared wedding folder and deleted everything I had uploaded: photos, contracts, schedules, 63 files gone. Then I renamed the folder, "Good Luck Without Me." I didn't tell anyone. I didn't warn them. I just waited for them to realize. No florist confirmation, no photographer, and an email from the venue saying the booking was cancelled. They thought I'd stay quiet, that I'd take it like always. But this wasn't just about the wedding. This was the last straw in years of being used and ignored. They handed me the scissors, and I finally cut the cord. They wanted me gone, fine, but they didn't expect I'd leave with everything they built on my back. And this was just the beginning. They say I'm dramatic, that I overreact. So let me explain how I got here. 6 months ago, Lily called me crying. Zach lost his job. They were behind on rent. I didn't even think twice. I sent her $3,800. That was the third time I helped that year. I gave Dad $5,000 to fix his retirement account. I paid for Lily's bachelorette Airbnb, which they trashed under my name. I kept proof, not because I wanted revenge, but because I needed to remind myself I wasn't imagining it. I was pouring money and time into a family that treated me like a backup plan. It wasn't just the money, it was the way they treated me after, like a servant, like I didn't matter. One time while I was fixing Dad's gutters in a storm, he joked that I should be a house husband since I wasn't a man enough to earn more. Everyone laughed. When I told Mom it hurt, she said I was too sensitive. When Lily got engaged, I found out over FaceTime. My parents were in the background celebrating. They helped plan the whole thing. No one told me. Still, I tried. I paid for the engagement photos, built the website, helped design the invitations, and paid the venue deposit when Mom's card didn't work. I gave and gave. And then the rumors started. "Aunt Megan, I heard you're not invited? Uncle Jeff, did you say something to Zach's dad?" Then I saw the Facebook post. A happy photo of Lily and Zach with my parents in front of the wedding venue. The caption, "So proud of our family, can't wait for the big day with all the right people by our side." I wasn't tagged. I wasn't one of the right people. I saw a comment under the photo. One of Lily's friends asked, "Is Jack going to be there? He was always so funny." Lily replied, "We're keeping it small. Just people we trust. Just people we trust." I didn't sleep that night. I went through every receipt, every email, all the times they made me feel selfish for asking to be paid back. And I finally realized, I was the only one in the family who gave everything without asking for anything back. And I was the only one who got nothing. A week later, we all got a group text. "Hi, family, can everyone help pay for Lily's bridal shower decorations? Jack, since you're good with websites, can you make an RSVP page? Hugs." I didn't answer. Then Lily messaged me directly. "Can you just do this one thing without being passive-aggressive?" Instead of replying, I did something else. I logged into the wedding venue account and requested a refund. It was supposed to be non-refundable, but I had quietly bought wedding insurance when I booked it. I filed a claim under family conflict. They gave me back 90%. Then I opened Canva and deleted everything I designed: RSVPs, signs, table layouts, gone. I made one last file and called it, "Ask Zach's dad to fix this." Then I shared it with the whole family. That's when everything blew up. 3 hours later, Mom called me in a panic. What are you doing? Do you know how this looks? I said, yes, that's why I'm doing it. Then Dad called, already yelling, you've always been jealous of Lily. You just can't stand that she's doing better than you. I hung up. Later, my phone blew up. Lily posted on Instagram, betrayal always comes from those closest to you. Then Mom posted a photo of Lily crying with the caption, nothing hurts more than your own brother trying to ruin your special day. Friends and cousins started messaging me. Some asked if I was okay. Most didn't. They just asked, why would you ruin her wedding? I didn't respond to any of them. Then I got a package. No return address. Just a yellow envelope. Inside was a printed screenshot from Lily's group chat with her bridesmaids. She was laughing. We'll get Jack to pay for the cake too. Just guilt him about being the only brother. Works every time. Another message. Zach doesn't even like him. Says Jack gives him the creeps. LOL. And finally, he won't be at the wedding. I'll make sure of it. Watch. There was a sticky note on top. Handwritten. You deserve better, K. I didn't know who K was, but I'd find out, because K had more than screenshots, she had audio. And once I heard it, I knew exactly what I was going to do at the rehearsal dinner. It was held at a fancy vineyard about 30 minutes outside the city. They called it rustic luxury. I called it overpriced wine and fairy lights stapled to trees. But I showed up, calm, clean, focused. I didn't come to eat, I came to end the circus. I walked in while they were making a toast. Lily was laughing. Zach had his arm around her. Dad looked tense. Mom didn't meet my eyes. They didn't expect me to show up. I was supposed to be the villain, the bitter brother who couldn't let go. But I wasn't bitter. I was finished. I walked right up to the front. Sorry to interrupt, I said, tapping a glass. Everyone went quiet. Someone laughed awkwardly. Lily frowned. I pulled a small speaker from my jacket, set it on the table. Then I held up a flash drive. Zach stood up. What are you doing? I looked at him. Giving you exactly what you deserve. I hit play. Lily's voice came through the speaker, laughing. We'll get Jack to pay for the cake, too. Just guilt him about being the only brother. Works every time. The room went silent. Someone gasped. A fork hit a plate. I didn't move. Another voice. Zach doesn't even like him. Says Jack gives him the creeps. LOL. Zach turned pale. Lily rushed forward to grab the speaker. I stepped in front of her. Sit down, I said. It wasn't a question. Then the final clip. He won't be at the wedding. I'll make sure of it. Watch. I paused the recording. Looked around. Any questions? Zach opened his mouth, then closed it again. My dad stood up, looking really angry. You think this is okay? This is how you act, he said. Sit down, I said sharply, and for the first time ever, he actually did. I turned to Lily. I spent more than $11,000 on your wedding. I made your website, found your venue, paid for your florist. I did all of it because I thought we were family. Lily was shaking, tears smudging her mascara. You don't understand. No, I said. You never understood. You didn't want a brother, you wanted someone to pay for everything. Then I took out a folder, full of proof. Texts, receipts, screenshots. All the times I paid for things. All the times they ignored it. Even the messages where Lily called me their free wedding planner. I gave it to Zach, her fiancé. You still want to marry her? I asked. He looked at the papers. He didn't say a word. Then a woman stood up from the back of the room. She wore a gray coat and had a badge. Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen. I work in digital forensics. And I checked the recordings Jack got. They're real, no editing. I got them from Lily's old WhatsApp account. Lily's jaw dropped. My mom gasped. Dad shouted, "Is this a joke?" Kristen smiled. Nope, it's all legit. Then Zach turned to Lily. You told me Jack threatened you. You said he was dangerous, but you lied. She reached for him. Zach, wait, don't touch me, he said. Everything exploded. People were yelling. Someone knocked over a glass. My mom couldn't even speak. And I just stood there, calm, watching it all fall apart. When it got loud, I raised my voice. I'm not coming to the wedding. You already kicked me out, but now it's without my money, my help, Or my silence. I turned to my parents. You cut me off the second I stopped being useful, so now I'm cutting the cord. And just as I walked out, Zach said, I'm calling off the wedding. Lily screamed. You can't do this here. Oh, I said. He just did. Then I left. No dramatic music. No big scene. Just the sound of their world falling apart behind me. I didn't go home. I didn't even take the highway. I drove to a quiet place up north where no one knew me. A month earlier, I'd rented a tiny cottage in a small town. Barely 600 people lived there. One diner, one gas station. No one asked questions. That's why I picked it. I paid for 6 months up front. No address forwarding. No digital trail. Just peace and quiet. The first few days, I turned off my phone. Didn't check anything. Just drank coffee on the porch and listened to birds argue over trees. I didn't feel like I won. I felt free. No stress. No guilt. No one asking for money. No fake affection. On day 4, I went into town and signed up for a class on preserving old records, history, documents, things that don't lie. It felt right. I helped out at the local museum, sorted old photos, fixed a broken machine. No one thanked me. I didn't care. It was finally mine. Then, a week later, the messages started. People emailing my backup account. Can we talk? You went too far. We're still family. Then came the missed calls. A lot of them. I didn't answer. They didn't want peace. They just wanted control back. What scared them wasn't what I showed. It was that I disappeared. They weren't in charge anymore, and that scared them most. 3 weeks later, a court letter showed up at my old apartment. My dad had tried to sell some family property, not knowing I'd already locked the deed years ago after he tried to use it without telling me. That move triggered a legal problem. Result: the sale failed. The buyer walked. And my dad got hit with a fraud investigation. I didn't make that happen. I just didn't stop it. No blog post. No group chat rant. I just walked away. No birthday calls. No rescue money. No, maybe next time. And that's what broke them the most. Because people like that don't fear punishment. They fear being ignored. They fear not having an audience. And now, I wasn't watching anymore. One morning, I went to the post office to pick up a small package I had ordered. While I was standing in line, the person behind me was on the phone. I overheard them say something like, I heard Lily's fiancé left right before the wedding, and then her brother just disappeared with all his money. I didn't turn around. I didn't say anything. I didn't explain. I just stayed quiet. No address. No phone. No way to reach me. They thought silence meant I was weak. But really, it was my choice. A calm, final goodbye without words. They can't guilt me anymore. They can't ask for help with bills. They can't pretend everything is okay just to get more out of me. Because now, there is no us, just them, and silence. You know what's strange? When you walk away from people who always leaned on you, they don't fall right away. They just freeze, like the world stopped and they don't know how to restart it. That's what happened after everything fell apart. Even after I left, they still thought I'd come back. Because I always did. But this time, I didn't. I changed my number, not just the SIM, new provider, new country code. No one could reach me. I shut down the bank account my dad used just in case. Sent all my mail to a private digital folder. Took their names off my medical forms. Even changed the emergency contact on my license from a mom to no one. Now, they don't know where I am. They don't know if I'm still in the country, or even alive. And that drives them crazy. A month ago, I went back one last time. Not to the house, not to see them. I drove past the wedding venue, the one I canceled. It was empty now, for sale. A bouquet was lying in the dirt. It felt right. I rolled down the window. The air smelled like rain and something lost. Before I left, I stopped by the mailbox near the gate. I dropped in an envelope with no name on it. Inside was the last wedding bill I paid. On top, I stuck a post-it note, thanks for nothing. Sometimes, I log into my old email just to see what they've sent. One unread message said, please talk to us. I didn't open it. Another said, we don't know who you are anymore. That one made me smile. Because now, they're finally right. I'm not the guy who paid their bills late at night. I'm not the backup plan. Not the wedding planner. Not the one who always forgave and forgot. I'm someone else now. Living a new life. And they can't touch it. Last week, I got a new mailbox. It's strong, metal, with a lock. Once something goes in, it doesn't come back out. The installer asked what name I wanted on it. I said, no name, just a message. So now, on a small brass plate, it says, this box does not accept apologies. And the quiet I hear now? It's not loneliness. It's peace.
The voicemail played for the third time, my mother's voice crackling through the speaker like a desperate ghost reaching across the years. Eliza, please. I know it's been a long time, but we need you. It's about the house. Your grandmother's house. I sat in my darkened office, lines of code forgotten on the monitor, letting the familiar rage simmer beneath my skin. 15 years of silence, and now she needed something. Of course she did. Delete! I commanded my phone, but my finger hovered over the button. The house. Grandma Grace's Victorian on Maple Street, with its creaking porch swing and garden full of stubborn roses that bloomed despite everything. The only real home I'd ever known. My phone buzzed again. A text from my half-sister Samantha. Mom's falling apart. Ronald's done something terrible. Please come home. Home. What a joke. I'd left that place at 13, watching through the rear window of Grandma's car as my mother stood in the doorway, silent and still as a statue, while Ronald's hand gripped her shoulder. She never came after me. I pulled up my calendar, scanning the neat rows of meetings and deadlines. Success was the best revenge, wasn't it? That's what I'd told myself while building my software company from nothing, while buying my downtown condo, while dating men who wore suits instead of wife-beaters. Your mother's making her choices, Grandma had said back then, her arthritis-twisted fingers smoothing my hair. But you, my girl, you're going to make different ones. Another text from Samantha. Please, I'm scared. My fingers moved across the keyboard, canceling next week's meetings. I opened my bottom drawer, pulled out the old photo I kept there. 3 women on that porch swing, Grandma Grace, my mother, and me. Before Ronald. Before everything went wrong. The office phone rang. Tommy, my oldest friend. The only one who knew the whole story. Hey, saw your calendar clear out. Everything okay? Mother Dearest finally called. Sounds like Ronald's finally screwed up badly enough for her to notice. Shit. A pause. You're not actually thinking of going back? I traced the edge of the photograph. The house, Tommy. He's done something to Grandma's house. That place has been nothing but trouble since Grace died. Let it go, Liz. But I was already booking the flight. I have to know. You mean you have to make them pay? Same thing, isn't it? Tommy sighed. Want me to come with? No, this is something I need to do alone. I looked at my reflection in the darkened monitor. Successful, polished, nothing like that scared 13-year-old girl. Besides, I'm not that person anymore. I can handle them now. That's what worries me, Tommy said. Just don't lose yourself in this, okay? I ended the call and pulled up real estate records. The house's ownership had changed hands 3 times since Grandma died. The latest transfer was 6 months ago to a shell company I recognized as one of Ronald's schemes. My phone buzzed one final time. Another voicemail from my mother, her voice breaking. Please, Eliza, I know we don't deserve your help, but he's going to take everything. Everything your grandmother worked for. Everything she wanted for you. I booked the flight for tomorrow morning. First class? Because why not let them see exactly what I'd become without them? I packed my laptop, my best suits, and that old photograph. Time to go home, I whispered to my empty office, tasting the bitterness of those words. But this wasn't about home, not really. This was about justice, about revenge, about making them finally face what they'd done. I smiled in the darkness, imagining Ronald's face when he realized his stepdaughter wasn't that helpless child anymore. I had resources now, power, and most importantly, nothing left to lose. Except maybe, somewhere deep down, the last shreds of who I used to be. The rental car's tires crunched on the familiar gravel of my old driveway. Through the windshield, Grandma's Victorian looked like a wounded animal, paint peeling, shutters hanging askew, those stubborn roses now wild and untamed. The house seemed to lean slightly, as if bearing a weight it couldn't quite handle. Samantha waited on the porch steps, her shoulders hunched against the autumn chill. She looked more like our mother than I remembered. Same delicate features, same nervous energy in her hands. "They're fighting again," she said as I approached. No hello, no how are you, just the raw truth of what waited inside. Through the front window, I caught glimpses of movement, heard the muffled rise and fall of voices. Ronald's bass rumble, my mother's higher pitch cutting through. "How long has it been like this?" "Since the notice came." Samantha pulled her sweater tighter. 3 weeks ago. The bank wants... The front door flew open. Ronald filled the frame, his bulk somehow larger than I remembered, though his hair had gone completely gray. His eyes narrowed. "Well, look who finally decided to grace us with her presence." "Ronald." I kept my voice neutral, professional, the same tone I used in hostile takeover meetings. "Still too good to call me Dad, I see. You never earned the title." He stepped onto the porch, and Samantha instinctively moved closer to me. "Interesting. You think you can waltz back here in your fancy clothes and judge us? You have no idea what we've been through." "What you've been through?" The words tasted like acid. "That's rich, coming from... Eliza?" My mother appeared behind him, 15 years older than the woman in my photograph. Her hands twisted together, a nervous habit I'd forgotten about. "You came. Not for you." She flinched but nodded. "I know, but please come inside. We need to talk about..." "The foreclosure?" I cut in, watching Ronald's face darken. "Or the gambling debts? Which conversation would you prefer to have first?" "You don't know what you're talking about," Ronald growled. I pulled out my phone, scrolled through my research. 3 mortgages in 5 years. 2 liens against the property. A shell company registered in your name that's been moving money through offshore accounts. Should I continue? The color drained from my mother's face. "Ronald, what is she talking about?" "She's lying," he snapped. "Making up stories because she's always been jealous of our family." "Your family?" I laughed, the sound sharp enough to make Samantha jump. "You mean the one you stole from me?" "Nobody stole anything." He stepped closer, trying to use his height to intimidate me. "You ran away, remember? Couldn't handle having a real father figure in your life." "A real father figure doesn't..." I stopped, noticing how Samantha's hand had moved to her arm, an unconscious gesture that spoke volumes. "Actually, let's talk about what a real father figure does. Shall we?" My mother moved between us. "Please, both of you, this isn't helping." "You're right," I said, switching tactics. "What would help is seeing the financial records. All of them, now." "Like hell," Ronald started, but my mother's quiet voice cut through. "They're in the study." "Martha!" Ronald grabbed her arm. "You can't... let... go!" I didn't raise my voice, but something in my tone made him release her. "Now, Mother, show me everything. Every document, every statement, every piece of paper that explains how my grandmother's house ended up in this condition." "You have no right," Ronald began, but Samantha suddenly spoke up. "She has every right. It was her home first." The silence that followed was deafening. Ronald's face twisted with rage, but before he could speak, I stepped past him into the house. The familiar scent of lemon furniture polish mixed with something musty, decaying. Like the house itself was rotting from the inside out. "The study," I said to my mother. "Now." She led the way, Ronald's heavy footsteps following. I caught Samantha's eye as she brought up the rear, saw the slight nod she gave me. She knew something beyond what they'd told her to say in those texts. I'd come for revenge, but standing in that hallway, breathing in the decay of my childhood home, I realized this was about more than just settling old scores. This was about protection, about justice, about making sure Ronald Cooper couldn't destroy another family's future. And judging by the fear in my mother's eyes as she opened the study door, I wasn't the only one who'd reached that conclusion. The study was exactly as I remembered: dark wood paneling, leather chairs, and the lingering scent of Ronald's cigars. But Grandma's antique desk was gone, replaced by a cheap metal one drowning in papers. I ran my finger through the dust on a nearby shelf. Even the books looked defeated. "The records," my mother said, pulling folders from a cabinet. Her hands shook as she laid them out. I started scanning documents, my software developer's brain cataloging patterns: credit card statements, casino receipts, loan applications. Each page revealed a deeper pit of debt, with Grandma's house as collateral. "Where's the trust paperwork?" I asked, keeping my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. Ronald shifted near the door. "What trust? Don't." I looked up, met his eyes. "Grandma set up a trust before she died. For the house. For me." My mother dropped a stack of papers. "Ronald, you said that trust was dissolved years ago, that it wasn't valid." "It wasn't," he snapped. "The lawyers confirmed." "Which lawyers?" I pulled out my phone, opened my emails. "Because I have the original documentation right here. Signed, notarized, ironclad. The house was supposed to be mine when I turned 25. The color drained from Ronald's face. "You're lying." "3 years ago," I continued, watching him squirm. "That's when you started taking out loans against the property. Funny timing, considering that's exactly when the trust should have transferred ownership to me." "I didn't," my mother started, but Ronald cut her off. "You abandoned this family. You have no right to—" "Show me the trust dissolution paperwork," I demanded. "Show me where I signed away my inheritance." Silence filled the room like smoke. Samantha appeared in the doorway, her eyes wide. "You forged my signature, didn't you?" The pieces clicked into place. "That's why you needed the offshore accounts, to hide the fraud." Ronald lunged forward, but I stood my ground. "You ungrateful little—" "Ronald!" My mother grabbed his arm. "Is it true? Did you forge—" "I did what I had to do," he roared, "to keep this family afloat while she was off playing tech princess in the city." "Playing?" I laughed, the sound sharp as broken glass. "I built a multi-million-dollar company while you were gambling away my inheritance. You think you're so much better than us?" He wrenched free from my mother's grip. "You want to know the real truth? Your precious grandmother wasn't the saint you think she was. Don't you dare? She was stealing from your college fund for years, taking money meant for your future and gambling it away at bingo halls and card games. I have proof." The room tilted slightly. "You're lying." "Am I?" He yanked open a drawer, pulled out a yellowed envelope. "Bank statements, withdrawal records. Your perfect grandmother was just as bad as me. The only difference is, I was trying to win it back." My mother snatched the envelope, hands trembling as she read. "Oh, God! That's not possible," I whispered. But memories surfaced: Grandma's late-night trips, her secretive phone calls, the way she'd sometimes come home looking defeated. "Face it," Ronald sneered. "You're just like us. Damaged goods from a family of—" Samantha's voice cut through the tension. "He's lying." We all turned. She stood straighter now, chin raised. "I found the real records last month, in his private safe. He's been doctoring documents for years, creating fake histories. The gambling receipts in Grandma's name? The dates don't match. She was in the hospital those days. I checked." Ronald moved so fast I barely saw it. His hand raised, but before he could strike Samantha, I was between them. "Touch her," I said softly, "and I'll destroy you." The threat hung in the air like a blade. Ronald's hand slowly lowered, but his eyes burned with hatred. "You have 24 hours, I told him, "to produce every document, every record, every piece of evidence about what you've done with this house and Grandma's trust. After that, I go to the police." "You wouldn't dare. Try me." I turned to my mother. "Your choice. Help me expose him or go down with him." She looked between us, years of fear and manipulation warring with something else. Maybe hope, maybe courage. 24 hours. I repeated, taking Samantha's arm. Clock's ticking. As we left the study, I heard Ronald's voice, low and dangerous. You have no idea what you're starting. But he was wrong. I knew exactly what I was starting. War. Tommy's coffee shop hadn't changed. Same cracked leather booths, same ancient espresso machine hissing in the corner. I sat across from him, watching steam rise from my untouched cup, while Samantha's revelations about the safe tumbled through my mind. You look like hell, Tommy said, sliding a manila envelope across the table. But my contact at the bank came through. Inside were account statements spanning the last 5 years. Each page felt like another nail in Ronald's coffin. Or mine. I wasn't sure anymore. There's more, Samantha said quietly. She'd insisted on coming, though her hands hadn't stopped shaking since we left the house. The safe had letters from Grandma Grace, to you. My coffee cup clattered against its saucer. What? She pulled a bundle of envelopes from her bag, held together with a faded ribbon. He intercepted them. There's dozens, all addressed to you at your old college dorm. Tommy whistled low. That's mail fraud. But I barely heard him. The first letter was dated just weeks before Grandma died. Her familiar handwriting swam before my eyes. My dearest girl, there's something you need to know about the trust. Eliza? Tommy's voice seemed far away. What does it say? I scanned the letters quickly, pieces clicking into place. She knew. About Ronald's gambling. About everything. She was gathering evidence, building a case against him. The trust wasn't just money, it was proof. Documentation of every scheme, every fraud he'd committed. But why didn't she just turn him in? Samantha asked. Because of me. My mother's voice made us all jump. She stood by our booth, looking smaller somehow in the harsh fluorescent light. She was protecting me. Tommy started to rise, but I waved him back down. Sit down, Mother. Explain. She slid in beside Samantha, who instinctively moved closer to me. Ronald, he had evidence. About things I'd done before I married him. Nothing illegal, but enough to cost me my job, my reputation, you. What kind of evidence? Letters, photos, from when I was young and desperate. He threatened to send them to my employers, to social services. Her voice cracked. Your grandmother found out. She said she'd handle it, protect us both. Then she died, and Ronald claimed the trust had been dissolved. And you believed him? The words tasted bitter. I believed I deserved it. The shame, the control, all of it. But Samantha didn't. You didn't. Tommy's phone buzzed. He checked it, his expression darkening. We've got trouble. Ronald just withdrew everything from the joint accounts, all of it. He's running, Samantha realized. Let him, I said, but my mother grabbed my hand. You don't understand. He has copies of everything. The real trust documents, Grandma's evidence, the photos he used to blackmail me. It's all in a safety deposit box at First National. My laugh surprised even me. Of course it is, right where I could never access it. But I can, she said quietly. I'm still on the account. The coffee shop seemed to hold its breath. I studied my mother's face, searching for any trace of deception. Why help me now? Because your grandmother was right. Some debts can't be paid with money. She pulled a key from her pocket, placed it on the table. The box number is 2247. Everything you need is there. It's a trap, Tommy warned. Maybe. I picked up the key, felt its weight. But it's the only lead we've got. If you go now, you can beat him there, Samantha said. The bank closes in an hour. I stood, gathering the letters and bank statements. Tommy, take Samantha to your place. Mother, I'm coming with you. She stood too, straightening her shoulders. It's time I faced what I've done. The key felt hot in my pocket as we walked to my car. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about truth, about finally understanding the web of lies and protection that had shaped our lives. He'll never forgive me for this, my mother said as we pulled out of the parking lot. Good. I pressed the accelerator, watching the speedometer climb. Some things shouldn't be forgiven. But as we raced toward the bank, Grandma's letters burned in my bag like a question. Was I fighting for justice, or had I become exactly what Ronald always claimed, someone willing to destroy a family for revenge? The answer, I suspected, waited in box 2247. The safety deposit box key trembled in my mother's hand as the bank manager led us down to the vault. Every step echoed against marble floors, counting down moments until— what? Truth? Justice? Destruction? Box 2247, the manager announced, then froze. Oh! My mother's sharp intake of breath told me everything. The box was already open, its contents scattered across the small viewing room table. He beat us here, I said flatly. The manager checked his logs. Mr. Cooper accessed the box 30 minutes ago. He seemed agitated. My phone buzzed. A text from Tommy. Ronald just showed up at my place. He's looking for Samantha. The rage I'd been containing burst free. I slammed my palm against the metal table, making the manager jump. What did he take? My mother sifted through the remaining papers, her movements increasingly frantic. The trust documents are gone. The photos too. But— she held up a USB drive. He missed this. The manager cleared his throat. I should give you privacy. Stay, I commanded. We need a witness. I plugged the drive into my phone, and Grandma Grace's face filled the screen. A video. The timestamp showed 3 days before her death. Eliza, my dear, her recorded voice wavered. If you're watching this, then everything I feared has happened. Ronald's found a way to access the trust, but he doesn't know about the second account. My mother's head snapped up. What second account? I opened it the day you left, Grandma continued. In your name and mine. Offshore, where Ronald couldn't touch it. The account number and passwords are hidden in the one place he'd never look. The family Bible, tucked inside my favorite psalm about vengeance. The Bible's still at the house, my mother whispered, in my bedroom closet. Another text from Tommy. Ronald's gone, but he took something from my safe. Old letters from your grandmother to you. He's trying to erase everything, I realized. All the evidence, all the proof. There's more, Grandma's recording continued. Martha, if you're there too, you should know. I kept copies of everything. The real photos Ronald used against you. The ones that would prove he manipulated them. Changed dates. Added details. My mother sank into a chair, tears streaming. She knew, all this time. The Bible, I said, already moving. We need to— My phone rang. Samantha's number, but Ronald's voice. Looking for something, princess? Ice flooded my veins. Where is she? Safe, for now, unlike your precious evidence. Background noise, pages ripping. Amazing what you find in family Bibles. Account numbers, passwords, secrets. If you hurt her, then what? You'll expose me? With what proof? He laughed. Meet me at the house, alone, or your sister learns exactly what happens to people who betray family. The line went dead. Call the police, my mother pleaded. And risk Samantha? No. I headed for the door. He wants to end this where it started. Fine by me. Eliza, wait! She grabbed my arm. There's something else you need to know. Something not in those documents. Not now. Yes, now. Her grip tightened. The real reason I let him drive you away. He threatened to— The gambling wasn't just gambling. He has connections, dangerous ones, people who collect debts permanently. The implications hit like a physical blow. You thought he'd— kill you? Yes. And now he has Samantha, and I can't lose another daughter. I shook free of her grip, my mind racing. Grandma's video, the hidden account, Ronald's desperation. All pieces of a puzzle I couldn't quite see. Call Tommy, I said finally. Tell him to meet me at the house. And Mother? Yes? Now, if anything happens to me or Samantha, make sure everything we found today goes public. Every document, every recording, every dirty secret. You're going to get yourself killed. I thought of Samantha, of Grandma's hidden messages, of 15 years of calculated abuse and control. No, I said, heading for my car. I'm going to finish what Grandma started. Behind me, her video played one final time. Remember, my dear, revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. It's about protecting what matters most. I just hoped I could figure out what that meant before it was too late. Grandma's house loomed before me in the twilight, its windows dark except for a single light in the study. Tommy's car wasn't here yet. Good. Whatever happened next, I wouldn't risk anyone else. The front door was unlocked. Inside, torn Bible pages littered the floor like fallen leaves, each one a piece of Grandma's final message scattered and broken. "Welcome home," Ronald's voice drifted from the study. "Close the door." I did, noting the fresh scratches around the lock. Signs of struggle. My hand curled around the USB drive in my pocket, its edges digging into my palm. "Where's Samantha?" "Safe." He sat behind Grandma's old desk, the family Bible gutted before him. "Unlike your reputation once these go public." He spread photographs across the desk. Me at various tech conferences, business meetings, but altered. Dates changed, faces replaced, implications of corporate espionage and fraud carefully constructed. "Really?" I kept my voice steady. "That's your play? Fake photos? Worked on your mother." He smiled, the expression never reaching his eyes. "Amazing what people believe when the evidence seems irrefutable. Your company's board of directors, for instance." A message flashed on my phone. Package sent to all major shareholders. Deadline, midnight. My chest tightened. Everything I'd built, my entire company, balanced on reputation and trust. If those photos went public. "Where is she?" I demanded again. "Show me what's in your pocket first." I placed the USB drive on the desk. Ronald picked it up, inserted it into his laptop. Grandma's face appeared, her final message playing again. "Sweet old Grace," he sneered, always thinking she was one step ahead. She was. You just didn't realize it. I moved closer to the desk. "The photos you used to blackmail my mother? Grandma kept the originals, the unaltered versions." His smile faltered. "You're bluffing. Check your offshore account, the one you thought was so clever." I pulled out my phone, showed him the screen. Already emptied. Turns out Grandma's password hint wasn't that hard to crack. "The day the devil came to dinner. The day you married my mother." Ronald lunged across the desk, but I was ready. The self-defense classes I'd taken after leaving home finally paid off. I deflected his grab, used his momentum to slam him back into the chair. "It's over," I said. "The money's gone. The evidence is public. Your leverage is—" A scream from upstairs cut me off. Samantha's voice, followed by a crash. I ran for the stairs, taking them two at a time. Behind me, Ronald laughed. "You always were predictable, Princess." The master bedroom door was locked. Inside, something shattered. "Samantha! She's fine," Ronald called up the stairs. "For now. But those photos of your corporate espionage? Already uploading to every news outlet in the country. Unless what? Sign over your company. All of it. One signature, and this all goes away." Another crash from inside the room. Was someone else in there with her? 10 seconds, Princess, or your sister learns what happens to traitors in this family." I closed my eyes, saw Grandma's face from the video. "Remember, revenge isn't about destroying your enemies." The contract appeared on my phone. Total surrender of my company, everything I'd built from nothing. My revenge had brought me right back here, powerless, trapped, forced to choose between family and survival. 5 seconds. A muffled sob through the door. Or was it a laugh? "Time's up!" My finger hovered over the signature line. All my evidence, all my plans, and still Ronald had outplayed me. Unless. "Protection," I whispered, finally understanding Grandma's message. It was never about revenge. I kicked the bedroom door hard, right beside the handle. It burst open to reveal Samantha, alone, unharmed, and holding a phone set to record. "Got it all," she said, grinning. "Every threat, every admission, even the part about the fake photos." Below, Ronald's footsteps thundered up the stairs. You really should change your email password, Samantha continued. Those photos you sent to the board? Already replaced with evidence of your real corporate espionage. The gambling debts? Everything. Ronald reached the top step just as police sirens wailed in the distance. You see, Ronald, I said, watching his face contort with rage, I learned from the best. Grandma taught me that true revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. It's about protecting your family, Samantha finished. The sirens grew closer as Ronald realized, finally, that he'd lost everything. Just like he'd once made me lose everything. But this time, I wasn't alone. The police lights painted the Victorian's facade in alternating red and blue, but Ronald wasn't watching them. His eyes fixed on the phone in Samantha's hand, on the evidence of his own undoing. Delete it, he growled, taking a step forward. Like you deleted those trust documents? I moved between them. Or Grandma's letters? Or Mother's real photos? His hand shot out, faster than I expected, grabbing my throat. I said. The crack of wood on bone echoed through the hallway. Ronald stumbled back, blood trickling from his scalp. Behind him stood my mother, wielding a broken piece of the banister. Don't touch my daughters. Her voice shook, but her grip on the makeshift weapon remained steady. Never again. Footsteps thundered up the stairs, Tommy and 2 police officers, their weapons drawn. Officers! Ronald straightened, switching masks instantly. Thank God you're here. These women have broken into my home, threatened. Actually, Tommy cut in, this isn't your home. Hasn't been for about... He checked his watch. 30 minutes. The trust documents just cleared. Property's back in Eliza's name. Ronald's facade cracked. Impossible. I destroyed... Copies, Samantha said. Grandma Grace kept copies of everything, in safety deposit boxes across 3 states. Under her maiden name, I added, watching comprehension dawn in his eyes. The name you never bothered to learn. You're lying. But uncertainty crept into his voice. The account numbers, the passwords, were exactly where she said they'd be. I pulled out the Bible's torn pages. In her favorite psalm about vengeance, the one you ripped out without reading. The officers moved forward, cuffs ready. Ronald's hand slipped into his jacket. Don't! My mother warned, but he was already pulling out a flash drive. 1 click, he snarled, and every dirty secret about this family goes public. Martha's photos, Eliza's corporate dealings, everything. You mean these photos? Samantha held up her phone, showing the original, unaltered images. Or maybe these corporate records? Another swipe revealed documentation of Ronald's own fraud. How did you... Nah, I'm a software developer, remember? I stepped closer. Those offshore accounts you used? I built better security systems before I was 25. Breaking into yours took less time than my morning coffee. The flash drive clattered to the floor as the officers grabbed his arms. Wait, he pleaded, looking at my mother. Martha, you can't let them do this. Think about us, about our life together. Our life, she laughed, a sound I hadn't heard in 15 years. You mean your control? Your lies? The way you threatened my daughter until I sent her away? I protected you. No, I said quietly. Grandma protected us, all of us. She just needed time to gather enough evidence. Evidence of what? One of the officers asked. Tommy handed over a thick folder. Fraud, embezzlement, blackmail, money laundering for some very interesting casino owners. 5 years of documented crimes, courtesy of Grace Thompson's meticulous record-keeping. Ronald lunged suddenly, breaking free of the officers. But instead of running, he charged straight at me. You ruined everything! I didn't move. Didn't have to. Samantha's foot shot out, catching his ankle. He sprawled forward, face meeting the hardwood floor with a satisfying crunch. The officers were on him instantly, cuffs clicking shut. You know what your mistake was? I knelt beside him as they hauled him up. You thought revenge meant destroying people, but Grandma taught me differently. Real revenge? It's about patience, protection, building something stronger than the fear you used to control us. This isn't over, he spat blood onto the floor. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Actually, Tommy interrupted. As your newly appointed public defender, I advise you to stop talking. Now. The officers led him away, his threats fading down the stairs. My mother's hand found mine, squeezing gently. I'm so sorry, she whispered. For everything. I know. I squeezed back, watching Samantha collect the scattered Bible pages. But Grandma was right. Some things are worth protecting, worth fighting for. Through the window, dawn painted the sky in shades of hope. The old Victorian creaked around us, settling into its foundations like it too was finally free of a long-carried weight. So, Samantha said, holding up the restored Bible, what do we build now? I looked at my mother, at Tommy, at the sister I'd only just found. Something stronger, I replied. Something true. The autumn wind rustled through Grandma's roses as I cleared the last of Ronald's things from the study. Each item told its own story of deception. Forged documents, hidden accounts, years of calculated manipulation reduced to a box, headed for evidence storage. Found something, Samantha called from the closet. She emerged with a dusty photo album, its spine cracked but intact. Look at this! The first page showed 3 generations of women on the porch swing, Grandma Grace, my mother, and me. Below it, Grandma's elegant handwriting. The strength of our line isn't in what we endure, but in what we choose to protect. My mother appeared in the doorway, hesitating at the threshold. She looked smaller now, without Ronald's shadow looming over her. The divorce papers came through, she said quietly. And Tommy says Ronald's taking a plea deal. 20 years, minimum. I nodded, turning another page in the album. More photos, more memories. The house when it was newly painted. Grandma in her garden. Me at 13. The day before I left, my smile already fading. I've been thinking about selling my condo, I said, not looking up. The commute wouldn't be too bad from here. The floorboard creaked as my mother stepped closer. You'd stay? The house needs work. Lots of it. I traced a photo of the porch swing, now broken and waiting for repair. But Grandma always said some things are worth rebuilding. Samantha sat beside me, her shoulder touching mine. I could help. I mean, if you want. My coding skills aren't great, but I'm pretty good with a paintbrush. A letter fell from between the album's pages, addressed to me in Grandma's handwriting. The paper was fresh, not yellowed like the others. I unfolded it carefully. What does it say? My mother asked. My dearest Eliza, I read aloud. If you're reading this, you've finally understood what I've tried to teach you. Revenge isn't the opposite of love. It's a twisted form of it. The real challenge isn't in destroying what hurts us, but in building something stronger from the ruins. Samantha leaned closer. There's more on the back. I turned the page. P.S. Check behind the loose brick in the garden wall. Some legacies are meant to grow, not gather dust in bank vaults. The garden wall yielded its secret easily. A small metal box containing seed packets, each labeled in Grandma's hand. Rose varieties I'd never seen, carefully preserved. She was hybridizing them, my mother realized, creating new strains that could survive anything, even winter. I held the seeds, feeling their potential. Like codes waiting to be unlocked, lives waiting to bloom. I never told you, my mother said suddenly. But the day you left, she made me promise something. She said when you were ready, when you'd learned to protect without destroying, I should give you this. She pulled a small key from her pocket, its bronze surface worn smooth with age. To what? The greenhouse. The one she always kept locked. She pressed the key into my palm. She said you'd know when it was time. The greenhouse key felt warm against my skin, like it had been waiting all these years. Through its clouded glass, I could see the shapes of dormant plants, waiting. You don't have to decide now, Samantha said, about staying, about any of it. But I already had. Revenge had brought me home. But something else would keep me here. Something Grandma understood all along. Actually, I said, I think I'll start with the roses. My mother's hand found mine, tentative but present. Samantha gathered the seed packets, already talking about optimal planting times and soil conditions. Above us, the old Victorian creaked in the wind, its wounds visible, but its foundation solid. Like us, it had survived by adapting, by growing stronger in the broken places. I slipped the greenhouse key onto my ring, next to the one for my condo, feeling the weight of both choices, the life I'd built and the one I might grow here. Some would call it karma, that Ronald's own schemes led to his downfall. Others might see justice in the way truth finally broke his web of lies. But standing there, holding Grandma's seeds and her final lesson, I understood what she'd known all along. The sweetest revenge isn't in destroying what hurt you, it's in blooming anyway.
The white silk of my wedding dress feels like a straitjacket, and the chapel's stained glass casts blood-red shadows across the aisle. I should be floating on air, radiating joy, all that fairy tale nonsense. Instead, I'm scanning the faces in the pews like a soldier checking for snipers. That's when I see her. Lisa, my mother. 8 years of silence shattered by her uninvited presence in the back row. "Ava," James whispers beside me, his hand tightening around mine. "You okay?" I force my lips into what I hope passes for a smile. Perfect. The minister drones on about sacred unions and eternal love, but all I can focus on is her face. Older now, but still wearing that practiced look of innocence that fooled so many people for so long, including me, until that night when I was 16 and came home to find her gone, along with our savings and my college fund. Derek's there too, of course, her latest husband sitting next to her with his perfectly tailored suit and shark smile. Behind them, Madison, my half-sister, who got to keep her mother while I lost mine, stares at her phone, probably documenting my special day for her social media followers. If anyone knows any reason why these two should not be joined in holy matrimony, my heart stops. This would be exactly her style, turning my wedding into her stage. But she stays quiet, for now. The ceremony continues, and I say my vows on autopilot, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. James beams at me, completely oblivious to the storm brewing in the back of the church. My Uncle Michael, standing in as father of the bride, keeps shooting worried glances toward Lisa. He knows. He remembers everything. At the reception, I manage to avoid her for exactly 43 minutes before she corners me near the bathroom. "My beautiful girl," she says, reaching for my face. I step back, bumping into the wall. "I've missed you so much." Funny way of showing it. My voice comes out steady, practiced. I've rehearsed this moment countless times in my head. I know I made mistakes. Mistakes? I cut her off. Is that what we're calling abandonment these days? Her eyes well up with tears. They look genuine, but I learned long ago that everything about Lisa Thompson is carefully crafted for maximum effect. "I was sick, Eva. The addiction. Save it for your next mark." I move to push past her, but she grabs my arm. "We need your help," she whispers urgently. "Derek's business. There are some problems. Just a temporary loan." A laugh bubbles up from my chest, sharp and bitter. There it is, 8 years of nothing, and you show up at my wedding asking for money? "It's not like that. Everything okay here?" James appears at my side, all concerned husband and protective smiles. "Fine," I say, extracting myself from Lisa's grip. "My mother was just leaving." "Eva, please." But I'm already walking away, James's arm around my waist, steadying me. We make it halfway across the reception hall before Derek intercepts us. "Quite a success story you've become," he says smoothly. "Senior analyst at Bennett Enterprises, Sophie Bennett's protege. Must be nice, having everything handed to you." The threat in his words is subtle, but clear. He knows something, or thinks he does, about my position at Bennett. "Nothing was handed to me," I reply. "Unlike some people, I actually earned my place." His smile doesn't waver, but his eyes harden. We should catch up sometime. Family dinner, perhaps? There's so much to discuss. As he walks away, James squeezes my hand. Who was that? I watch Derek rejoin Lisa and Madison, their perfect little family unit. Nobody important, I lie. Just someone who's about to learn a very expensive lesson about karma. The crystal champagne glass in my hand threatens to crack under my grip. 8 years I've spent building myself up from nothing, creating a life they can't touch. If they think they can waltz back in and tear it all down, they're about to discover exactly how much I learned from Lisa's masterclass in manipulation. Game on, mother. Game on. The honeymoon photos mock me from my desk. James and I smiling on sun-drenched beaches, pretending the world hasn't tilted off its axis. 3 weeks of paradise, and now I'm back at Bennett Enterprises, staring at an email that makes my stomach turn. Did you see this? Karen appears at my cubicle, waving her phone. Derek Lawson just got appointed as external financial consultant. My coffee cup freezes halfway to my lips. What? Sophie announced it this morning. Apparently, he's some hotshot from Morgan Stanley. She leans closer, lowering her voice. Isn't he your stepfather? I cut her off. As of 8 years ago. The office suddenly feels too small, too exposed. I pull up the company-wide announcement, scanning the details. Derek's smug corporate headshot stares back at me, his credentials listed like battle honors. My phone buzzes, a text from Lisa. Isn't it wonderful? Now we can be a proper family again. I delete it without responding. Ava? Sophie Bennett's voice makes me jump. She stands in her signature power suit, radiating authority. Got a minute? In her corner office, floor-to-ceiling windows frame the city skyline. She settles behind her desk, studying me with those razor-sharp eyes that missed nothing during my meteoric rise from intern to senior analyst. Derek Lawson speaks highly of you, she says. Does he? Says you're brilliant, driven. She pauses. Family. Former family, I correct her. We're not close. Shame. Family connections can be invaluable in this business. She slides a folder across her desk. I'm putting you two on the Meridian merger. It's a career maker, Ava. 8 figures minimum. My throat tightens. Sophie, I don't think... Is there a problem? Yes, I want to scream. He's a snake. He's using you. He's here to destroy everything I've built. Instead, I smile. No problem at all. Later, in the parking garage, I find him waiting by my car. Quite the coincidence, I say, gripping my keys like brass knuckles. Hardly. Derek straightens his Italian silk tie. You've made quite a name for yourself here. The golden child, Sophie's protege. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. Your mother's so proud. What do you want? Want? I'm here to work, same as you. He steps closer. Though I did notice some irregularities in the quarterly reports you prepared. Nothing major, yet. Ice spreads through my veins. Are you threatening me? Threatening? No. Just looking out for family. He produces a business card. Have dinner with us tonight. Lisa's cooking. We can discuss your future at Bennett. I stare at the card until it blurs. And if I refuse? Then I might have to take a closer look at those reports. Mistakes happen after all, especially when someone's risen so quickly, perhaps, cutting corners along the way. My phone rings. James, probably wondering why I'm late. I let it go to voicemail. 7 o'clock, Derek says, turning away. Don't be late. Family dinner waits for no one. I wait until he's gone before calling Michael. They're back, I say when he answers, and they're not just asking for money anymore. My uncle's silence speaks volumes. Finally, what do you need? Remember those papers Mom left behind? The ones you said I wasn't ready to see? Eva, I'm ready now. Another pause. Come over. There's something you need to know about the night she left. I end the call, my reflection in the car window looking stranger by the second. 8 years ago, I was a scared teenager watching my world implode. Now I'm a weapon, honed by abandonment and betrayal. My phone buzzes again. Another text from Lisa. Made your favorite pot roast, just like old times. Old times. Like when she cleaned out my college fund for Derek's investment opportunity, or when she disappeared while I was at soccer practice, leaving nothing but a note saying she needed to find herself. I start my car, decision made. Let them think they have me cornered. Let them believe I'm that same vulnerable girl they can manipulate and discard. I've learned a few things about power plays and leverage since then, and by the time this game is over, they'll wish they'd never heard the name Bennett Enterprises, or mine. Uncle Michael's basement smells like old paper and regret. He spreads documents across his workbench while I pace, my heels clicking against concrete. Your mother wasn't just an addict, he says, hands trembling as he sorts through yellowed papers. She was a witness. The words hit like a slap. A witness to what? Financial fraud at her old firm. He pulls out a thick manila envelope. Derek wasn't just her rehab romance. He was handling the cover-up. My world tilts sideways. And you're just telling me this now? I tried to protect you. He won't meet my eyes. The less you knew, the safer I was. I snatch the envelope. Inside, bank statements show transfers, hundreds of thousands flowing through shell companies. This is why she left? Derek convinced her to take the fall, said he'd take care of her. Michael's laugh is bitter. Instead, he used the evidence to control her, keep her close. My phone buzzes, a text from James. Working late again? I ignore it, studying a familiar signature on one of the documents. Sophie Bennett signed off on these transfers. Michael goes still. Eva, she knew, all this time. The pieces click into place. My miraculous hire straight out of college, my rapid promotions. I wasn't her protege. I was insurance. The basement suddenly feels like a tomb. I stuff the papers into my bag, already moving toward the stairs. Where are you going? Family dinner, I say. Wouldn't want to keep them waiting. Lisa's house is exactly what you'd expect. All nouveau riche pretension and desperate attempts at elegance. Madison opens the door, her teenager's disdain barely masking curiosity. Mom's in the kitchen, she says, having one of her moments. I find Lisa clutching a wine glass, mascara smeared. Ava, you came. She moves to hug me, but I step back. Where's Derek? Working late, always working. She giggles, unsteady. But we can have girl time? Like before you abandoned me? The words slice through her artificial cheer. Or before you let Derek use you to cover up his fraud. The wine glass slips from her hand, shattering. Madison appears in the doorway, eyes wide. You don't understand, Lisa whispers. He said he'd protect us. He protected himself, used you as a patsy, then kept the evidence to keep you in line. I pull out the documents. Just like he's trying to do to me at Bennett. Madison moves closer, reading over my shoulder. Mom, what is this? Nothing, sweetie. Adult things. Stop lying, I snap. For once in your life, tell the truth. Lisa crumples into a kitchen chair. Derek said, he said if I played along, we'd be set for life. But then the demands kept coming. More money, more cover-ups. And Sophie Bennett, was she part of it? She knew about everything. Lisa's laugh is hollow. Why do you think she hired you? Madison grabs the papers, face hardening as she reads. These dates. This was right before you sent me to boarding school. Maddie, please, You said we couldn't afford for me to stay home, but you were moving millions? The front door opens. Derek's voice carries from the foyer. Something smells fantastic. Lisa freezes. Madison shoves the papers back at me, eyes blazing. Do it, she whispers. Take him down. I stuff the evidence away as Derek enters, all corporate charm and calculated warmth. Eva, and here I thought you'd skip our little reunion. Wouldn't dream of it. I smile, channeling 8 years of rage into something sharper. We have so much to discuss. He pauses, noting Lisa's tears, Madison's glare, the broken glass. His mask slips for just a moment, revealing something cold and calculating. Indeed we do. He straightens his tie, a tell I remember from childhood when he was about to deliver bad news. In fact, I just finished reviewing those reports I mentioned. Found some very interesting discrepancies. Funny, I say. So did I. We stare each other down across Lisa's pristine kitchen, the air thick with unspoken threats. Madison slides closer to me, a silent allegiance shift that doesn't go unnoticed. Careful, Ava, Derek says softly. Some games are too dangerous to play. Good thing I learned from the best. I head for the door, pausing beside him. By the way, Sophie sends her regards. His sharp intake of breath is all the confirmation I need. The game isn't just dangerous anymore, it's lethal. Karen's apartment feels like neutral territory at 3 a.m. Empty wine bottles litter her coffee table while I spread out Uncle Michael's documents like battlefield maps. So, Sophie Bennett hired you to keep tabs on Derek, Karen says, highlighting another suspicious transaction. But who's keeping tabs on Sophie? My wedding ring catches the lamplight as I reach for more papers. James hasn't asked where I've been these past nights. Maybe he doesn't want to know. Madison sent me more files, I say, unlocking my phone. Apparently, Derek's not as careful with his passwords at home. Your teenage sister is hacking your stepfather's computer? Karen arches an eyebrow. That's either brilliant or terrifying. Both. I pull up the emails Madison forwarded. Look at these dates. The week Mom left, there were 3 transfers to offshore accounts. But the signatures? Karen leans closer. That's not Derek's. It's Sophie's. My hands shake as I match the signatures. She wasn't just covering for him. She was profiting. My phone buzzes. A text from Madison. Dad's meeting Sophie tomorrow night. Overheard him talking. The Golden Crown Hotel, 8 p.m. Another buzz. James. Coming to bed tonight? I silence the phone. Eva. Karen's voice has that careful tone friends use before delivering uncomfortable truths. What happens when this all comes out? To your job? Your marriage? Before I can answer, there's a knock at the door. We freeze, sharing a panicked look. It's past 3. No one should be here. Karen peers through the peephole, then steps back like she's been burned. It's your mother. Lisa stands in the hallway, mascara streaked down her face. I know what you're planning, she says when I open the door. Derek will destroy you. Like he destroyed you? She flinches. You don't understand. Sophie, she's not what you think. None of this is what you think. Then enlighten me. I can't. Her hands twist together, a nervous habit I'd forgotten. But please, Eva, stop digging, for your own sake. My sake? I laugh, the sound sharp enough to cut. Where was this maternal concern when you cleaned out my college fund? When you left me with nothing but a post-it note goodbye? I left you with Michael because he could protect you. She's crying now, mascara running darker. Derek had evidence that could have sent me to prison. Sophie offered a deal. My silence for your future. Karen shifts behind me, a silent witness to our family's implosion. What evidence? I demand. Ask your uncle. Lisa wipes her eyes, leaving black smears. Ask him about the night of the audit, about what really happened to those missing files. My stomach drops. Uncle Michael wasn't involved? Everyone was involved, Eva. That's how they keep us quiet. We all have something to lose. She reaches for my hand, but I pull back. Please, don't make the same mistakes I did. After she leaves, Karen and I stare at the documents scattered across her floor. They don't look like justice anymore. They look like ammunition in a war I didn't know I was fighting. My phone lights up. Another text from Madison. Dad's deleting files. Lots of them. Something about Bennett Enterprises' quarterly audit. Then James. Should I be worried? And finally, Sophie. My office 7 a.m. tomorrow. We need to discuss your future with the company. What are you going to do? Karen asks. I gather the papers, my mind racing through scenarios like chess moves. Uncle Michael's involvement changes everything. Or maybe it changes nothing. Maybe this was always going to end in scorched earth and broken families. I'm going to that hotel tomorrow night, I say, and I'm going to record every word Derek and Sophie say. Eva, but first, I continue, pulling out my laptop, I'm going to make copies of everything, send them to every news outlet and regulatory agency I can find. That's suicide, career-wise at least. Maybe. I start typing, my fingers steady despite everything. But I learned from the best. You don't just plan revenge, you plan for every possible way it can backfire. Karen watches me work, her expression caught between admiration and fear. And James, your marriage? I pause, wedding ring suddenly heavy on my finger. Some things break no matter how carefully you hold them. The sun is rising by the time I finish, casting long shadows across Karen's apartment. They look like prison bars, or maybe that's just my guilty conscience talking. Either way, by this time tomorrow, everyone's carefully constructed lies will be exposed to the light, including mine. The Golden Crown Hotel's bar feels like a trap, but I'm the one who said it. I nurse a martini, watching Derek and Sophie through the reflection in my phone screen as they settle into a corner booth. The recording app blinks steadily, catching every word. The board meeting's been moved up, Sophie says, her voice carrying just enough. We need to accelerate the timeline. Derek's response is lost in the ambient noise, but his expression tells enough. Barely contained panic beneath that polished exterior. My phone vibrates. Madison. Mom found the copied files. She's freaking out. Then immediately after, she's calling Uncle Michael. My hands start to shake. This wasn't part of the plan. Miss Thompson? A server appears at my elbow. Phone call for you at the front desk. I know before I answer. Ava. Michael's voice is tight with fury. What have you done? What you should have done years ago. You have no idea what you're playing with. Where are you? I hang up, but the damage is done. In the corner booth, Derek is staring directly at me, his face a mask of calculated consideration. He whispers something to Sophie, who turns. Their eyes lock onto me like crosshairs. My phone buzzes again, James this time. We need to talk. I found the divorce papers in your desk. The walls start closing in. I head for the exit, but Sophie intercepts me near the lobby. You really are your mother's daughter, she says, voice dripping with false concern. So quick to burn everything down without understanding the full picture. I understand enough. Do you? She steps closer. Did you know your uncle was the one who suggested using Lisa as the scapegoat? That he orchestrated her addiction to make her more controllable? The floor seems to tilt. You're lying. Am I? Ask him about the prescription pads, about the doctors he paid off. Her smile is razor sharp. We all make choices, Eva. Your mother chose drugs over you because Michael made sure that was her only escape. Ava, Derek's voice cuts through the lobby. He's approaching fast, phone in hand. I run. The night air hits like a slap. I make it 3 blocks before ducking into an alley, trying to breathe through the panic. My phone won't stop buzzing. Madison, Dad's calling the police. Karen, your office is being searched. James, please come home. We can fix this. Michael, you're making it worse. Lisa, I'm so sorry, baby. The last one breaks something inside me. I dial Karen. They're moving the evidence, I say when she answers. All of it, tonight. Ava, stop. You need to think. I am thinking. For the first time, I'm seeing everything clearly. I start walking, purpose replacing panic. Remember that contingency plan we discussed? Silence. Then, the nuclear option? Eva, that'll destroy everyone, including you. They destroyed me 8 years ago. I'm just returning the favor. I end the call and open my email. The draft is already prepared. Every document, every recording, every piece of evidence sent to journalists, federal investigators, and the board of directors. One button and it all burns down. My finger hovers over send when another text appears. Madison, I found something else, something worse. Meet me at the office. I stare at the message, remembering Sophie's words about choices and consequences, about being my mother's daughter. The office building is dark when I arrive, but Madison's waiting in the lobby. She looks smaller somehow, more vulnerable than her usual teenage bravado. Before I show you, she says, you have to promise me something. What? Promise you won't let Dad hurt Mom again, no matter what's on these files. My throat tightens. Madison, promise me. Her voice cracks, because after you see this, everything changes, and I need to know someone's going to protect her this time. I think about Lisa's tear-stained face in Karen's hallway, about Michael's betrayal, about James finding divorce papers I don't remember drafting. I promise. Madison hands me a USB drive, her hands trembling. Dad wasn't just embezzling money. He was laundering it for people who... She swallows hard. People who make problems disappear. The elevator dings behind us. We both turn to see Derek step out, flanked by 2 men I don't recognize. Madison, he says softly, go wait in the car. She grabs my hand, squeezing once before letting go. A warning, a goodbye, a choice. I grip the USB drive tighter and reach for my phone. Time to see who burns first. The Bennett Enterprises annual gala feels like a funeral where everyone's still pretending to smile. I watch from the mezzanine as Derek works the room below, champagne in hand, playing the charming new consultant while his men search my office 17 floors up. The USB drive burns in my clutch bag. 1 copy uploaded, 1 held back, insurance against whatever comes next. Quite the turnout. Sophie appears beside me, elegant in black. Shame it has to end this way. Does it? You made your choice when you sent those files to the FBI? She sips her champagne, though I admit I'm curious which version they received. My phone vibrates. Madison. Mom's gone. The house is empty. Then Karen. James is here, looking for you. You know what fascinates me about you, Ava? Sophie continues. You're so focused on revenge, you never asked why I really hired you. The pieces click together too late. Below, I spot James entering the ballroom, followed by Uncle Michael. The trap closes like a noose. Because I wasn't the target, I say. I was the bait. Smart girl, always were. Sophie's smile turns predatory. Your mother wasn't the only one Derek betrayed 8 years ago, but she was the only one stupid enough to leave a paper trail. The ballroom spins slightly. The money laundering? Among other things, we needed someone close to him, someone with the right motivation for revenge. She gestures at the crowd below. Someone who could get him to expose himself without realizing he was being played. My phone buzzes again, an unknown number. Your mother is safe, for now. Where is she? My voice cracks. Consider her insurance against whatever else you might have planned. Sophie takes my clutch, removes the USB drive. You've served your purpose, Ava. Don't ruin it by trying to be a hero. Below, Derek spots me. Our eyes meet across the crowded room. He smiles and raises his glass in a mock toast. Ladies and gentlemen, his voice carries over the crowd. If I could have your attention. Right on schedule, Sophie murmurs. Derek approaches the podium, straightening his tie. As many of you know, Bennett Enterprises has been like family to me these past months, which makes this next announcement particularly difficult. My heart pounds as he pulls out a folder. It seems we've discovered some concerning irregularities in our financial records, specifically unauthorized transfers and manipulated audit reports. He pauses for effect, all traced back to one individual. The crowd murmurs. James looks up, finding me on the mezzanine. His face shows nothing but disappointment. Ava Thompson, Derek continues, would you join me down here? Sophie's hand clamps around my arm. Play your part, she whispers, or Lisa pays the price. The walk down the stairs feels endless. Every face turns to watch. Every whisper carries judgment. 8 years of building myself up, reduced to ashes in 8 seconds. Ava has been with us for 3 years, Derek says, voice heavy with false regret. Rising quickly through the ranks, perhaps too quickly. He hands me the folder. Inside, perfect forgeries of my signature on dozens of fraudulent documents. My own revenge plot, twisted and turned back on me. Would you like to explain yourself? Derek asks. Or shall I? The room blurs. Through the crowd, I see Uncle Michael slip away, phone to his ear. James won't meet my eyes. Somewhere upstairs, Derek's men are probably planting more evidence in my office. My phone buzzes one last time. Madison. Found Mom, Warehouse District. Hurry. Well, Derek prompts. I look up at Sophie, still watching from the mezzanine, at James, already turning away, at the career I built, the revenge I planned, the life I thought I could protect, all of it crumbling like sand. But Madison's text blinks on my phone screen. A choice, a chance. I step up to the microphone. You're right, I say, voice steady. I did manipulate the records. Derek's triumph shows for just a second. I did it to expose something much bigger. I pull out my phone, thumb hovering over send. Would you like to explain yourself, Derek? Or shall I? His smile freezes. In the crowd, James finally looks at me, really looks at me, and something like understanding crosses his face. Sometimes, I realize, you have to lose everything to find out what you're really fighting for. I press send, let it burn. The warehouse district feels like a graveyard at midnight. Rain slicks the pavement as I follow Madison's coordinates, the gala's chaos still echoing in my head. Police sirens wail in the distance, Derek's empire crumbling in real time as my evidence spreads like wildfire. I find Lisa in the third building, handcuffed to a pipe. Her mascara-stained face jerks up at my footsteps. Ava? Her voice cracks. You shouldn't be here. Neither should you. I move to unlock the cuffs, but her next words freeze me. Sophie's men are coming. You need to go. Sophie's men? The pieces shift again. Not Derek's? A slow clap echoes through the warehouse. Sophie emerges from the shadows, still wearing her gala dress. Predictable to the end, she says, just like your mother. Movement behind me, 2 men blocking the exit. Through the high windows, I see more figures circling the building. You played us both, I say, Derek and me. I played everyone. Sophie's heels click against concrete as she approaches. Derek was useful until he got greedy. You were useful until you got righteous. And Lisa? She glances at my mother. She was useful until she grew a conscience 8 years ago and threatened to expose everything. The money laundering wasn't Derek's operation, Lisa says quietly. It was hers, always was. My phone buzzes. Madison. Police coming. 2 minutes. You know what your problem is, Eva? Sophie continues. You thought this was about family, about revenge. It was always about power. She pulls out a gun, and powerful people protect their interests. Ava, run! Lisa struggles against the handcuffs, but I stand my ground. Check your phone, Sophie. Excuse me? The evidence I sent, it wasn't just about Derek. Check your phone. She doesn't, but I see the first flicker of uncertainty. Right now, every financial regulator, federal agent, and news outlet is receiving 8 years of transaction records, not Derek's records. I take a step forward. Yours. You're bluffing. Madison's been in your system for weeks. While you were so focused on manipulating me, a teenager cracked your empire wide open. Sirens grow closer. Sophie's men shift nervously. Even if that's true, Sophie raises the gun. Dead whistleblowers tell no tales, but their dead man switches do. I pull out my phone, show her the screen. One button, Sophie, one button, and every dirty secret you buried goes straight to Interpol. You'd destroy yourself too, your career, your reputation. Already destroyed. I laugh, and it sounds like breaking glass. You taught me that, remember? Sometimes you have to burn everything down to build something new. The warehouse doors burst open, but it's not the police. It's Derek. Sorry, I'm late. He's disheveled, desperate. Traffic was murder. What with all those federal agents at the gala? Derek, Sophie warns, don't. Shut up. He pulls out his own gun. 8 years I cleaned up your messes, kept your secrets, and you were going to pin it all on me? The student becomes the master, I say quietly. Sophie's composure cracks. You orchestrated this, all of it. No, I move toward Lisa, keeping my movement slow. You did. You all did. I reach my mother, start working on her cuffs. I just stopped playing by your rules. Police sirens scream outside. Flashlights sweep the windows. This is the FBI. Building is surrounded. Derek laughs, a broken, hollow sound. Well played, kid. Well played. Sophie turns the gun on him. He keeps his trained on her. They're both so focused on each other, they don't see Lisa slip free of the cuffs. They don't see her tackle Sophie as the FBI breaches the door. They don't see me hit the dead man's switch anyway, because some fires need to burn everything. Later, as federal agents lead everyone away, Madison finds me sitting on the warehouse steps. Mom okay? She asks, being checked out by paramedics. I stare at my phone, dozens of missed calls from James, Karen, Michael. You? Better than them. She nods at Sophie and Derek in handcuffs. Was it worth it? I think about revenge, about justice, about the cost of both, about family, the one that abandoned me, the one that betrayed me, and the sister who helped me burn it all down. Ask me tomorrow, I say. The sun rises over Bennett Enterprises' smoldering ruins, and for the first time in 8 years, I feel clean. The federal courthouse steps feel colder than they should in summer. I watch Sophie and Derek being led out in handcuffs, their empire reduced to headlines and case numbers. Madison stands beside me, her hand finding mine as her father passes. He doesn't look our way. Ready? She asks. I'm not, but I nod anyway. Inside, Uncle Michael waits in an interview room, looking older than I've ever seen him. The federal agents left us alone after he agreed to testify about the prescription pads, about his role in Lisa's addiction. I thought I was protecting you, he says before I can speak. Everything I did was for my own good. The words taste like ash. That's what Mom said too. He flinches. Eva, I found the original prescriptions. I slide them across the table. The ones you wrote before Derek got involved, before Sophie, before everything. His hands shake as he touches the papers. I was trying to help her cope after your father died. She was spiraling. So you decided to control her spiral? The rage feels different now, colder, cleaner. Make it manageable? I loved you both. Love shouldn't leave scars. Madison squeezes my hand. I'd almost forgotten she was there, watching her family's destruction mirror my own. The prosecutors offered me a deal, Michael says. Full immunity if I testify against Sophie's entire operation. Take it. I stand up. Consider it your last act of protection. In the hallway, Karen waits with coffee and courthouse gossip. Lisa's testimony sealed it, she says. Sophie's looking at 20 years minimum. And Derek? 15 unless he flips on his overseas contacts. She studies my face. James called again. The wedding ring feels heavy on my finger. I know. He still loves you. Sometimes love isn't enough. We exit into sunlight that feels too bright for funeral weather, because that's what this is. A funeral for the family I thought I wanted, the revenge I thought I needed, the person I used to be. Lisa sits on a nearby bench, looking small without her designer armor. When she sees us, she stands. The rehab center has an opening, she says. Real one this time, no strings. Good, I mean it. Ava, don't. The word comes out gentler than I expected. Not yet. She nods, understanding what I can't say. That forgiveness, like revenge, has its own timeline. Madison releases my hand. I should go with her. Make sure. I know. I hug her. My sister, my conscience, my unexpected ally in burning down our shared heritage. Call me when you're settled. Someone has to keep you honest. She manages a smile. Try not to destroy any more corporations while I'm gone. The joke lands wrong, but we pretend it doesn't. Karen touches my arm. Your place or mine? Neither. I check my phone. One last message from James. When you're ready. But I'm not ready. Not for James's forgiveness or Lisa's redemption or Michael's justifications. Not for rebuilding from ashes. I'm still creating. I need to make one more stop. Bennett Enterprises stands empty, its windows dark. Security lets me in. They haven't changed the codes yet. My office is exactly as I left it the night of the gala, except for one thing. On my desk sits a single envelope. Inside, a key and a note in Sophie's handwriting. For when you realize power and revenge are the same thing, the position is yours if you want it. S. I think about 8 years of pain, of choices made by others, of protection that felt like prison, about Madison finding her strength, Lisa finding her voice, James finding his limits, about Sophie teaching her final lesson from behind bars. The key feels warm in my palm, a door to another version of myself, another cycle of power and revenge. I leave it on the desk. Outside, Karen waits in her car. Where to? I look at the building one last time, at all it represents: ambition, corruption, the seductive pull of justified vengeance. Anywhere, I say, as long as it's forward. She starts the engine, and we drive away from the wreckage of my carefully planned revenge towards something that feels less like victory and more like freedom. Some fires don't need to be rebuilt from. Some just need to be left behind.
The silence at our dinner table feels like a living thing, coiled and ready to strike. I watch Daniel's fingers drum against his wine glass, a nervous tick I've never noticed in 15 years of marriage. His phone buzzes again, the 4th time in 20 minutes, and I see Rachel's name flash across the screen before he hastily flips it face down. I'm Layla, and until exactly 8 minutes ago, I thought I knew what my life was. Can I have more pasta, Mom? Tommy asks, fork scraping against his empty plate. His dark eyes, so much like Daniel's, peer up at me hopefully. Of course, sweetheart. My voice sounds strange, distant, as if someone else is speaking through me. I reach for Tommy's plate, but my hand trembles, and I knock over Daniel's wine glass. Red liquid spreads across our pristine white tablecloth like blood. Jesus, Layla, Daniel mutters, jumping up to avoid the spill. What's gotten into you? What's gotten into me? The text I glimpsed replays in my mind. Missing you already. Last night was perfect. I dab at the spreading stain with my napkin, buying time, fighting the urge to scream. Sorry, just clumsy tonight. The lie tastes bitter. Tommy, honey, why don't you go start your homework? I'll bring your pasta up in a minute. Tommy groans but slides off his chair. Fine. But can I have ice cream later? We'll see. I force a smile, watching him disappear upstairs. The moment he's gone, the air grows thick with unspoken accusations. Daniel's already reaching for his phone, and I notice how he angles the screen away from me as he checks it. When did this start? How long have I been blind? Big project? I ask, my voice carefully neutral. You seem distracted. Yeah, the merger's keeping everyone on their toes. He doesn't meet my eyes. Rachel's been coordinating with the legal team, and there's always some new fire to put out. Rachel. Of course it's Rachel. Young, ambitious Rachel, who always seems to need Daniel's input after hours, who laughs too loudly at his jokes during company parties, who's apparently making his nights perfect. Funny, I say, standing to clear the plates. I thought the merger was finished last month. You mentioned celebrating with the team, remember? Daniel's head snaps up, and for a split second, I see panic flash across his face before he schools his features. Different merger! Look, I should probably head back to the office. These documents won't review themselves. It's 7:30, Daniel. I grip the edge of the table, knuckles white. Tommy was hoping you'd help with his science project tonight. Tomorrow, I promise. He's already standing, straightening his tie. Don't wait up. As he grabs his keys, I think about the sacrifices I've made. Leaving my marketing career to raise Tommy. Moving across the country for his promotion. Supporting every late night, every missed weekend, every broken promise. Daniel! I call out just as he reaches the door. He pauses, hand on the doorknob. Yeah? Give Rachel my best. The slight stiffening of his shoulders is all the confirmation I need. He doesn't turn around, doesn't defend himself, just walks out and closes the door with a quiet click that sounds like the end of everything. I sink into my chair, staring at the wine stain on the tablecloth. Upstairs, I can hear Tommy humming as he works on his homework, blissfully unaware that his world is about to change. My phone sits next to my plate, and I pick it up with trembling fingers, scrolling to Sophie's number. Hey, I text, can you meet tomorrow? I need a lawyer. The response comes instantly. Of course, everything okay? I look at the empty chair where my husband sat, at the space where he should be helping our son with his homework, at the life I thought I knew unraveling thread by thread. No, I reply. But it will be. Sophie's law office smells like leather and lemon polish, but all I can focus on is the growing pile of credit card statements spread across her desk. Each receipt tells its own story. Expensive restaurants I've never heard of, hotel charges, jewelry stores. My stomach churns as I recognize the dates. Our anniversary, my birthday, even the day we finalized Tommy's adoption. He's been planning this for months, I say, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. While I was helping Tommy with his science fair project, Daniel was buying Rachel diamond earrings. Sophie leans back in her chair, her professional mask slipping to reveal genuine concern. Have you checked your joint accounts? That's the thing. I pull out my phone, showing her the banking app. Large transfers to a private account I didn't know existed. He's been siphoning money since his promotion. Bastard's been preparing his exit strategy. Sophie's fingers tap against her desk. But he made mistakes. Sloppy ones. A knock interrupts us, and Sophie's assistant pokes her head in. Mrs. Thompson, your son's school is on line 1. My heart stops. Tommy? I grab the phone, already imagining accidents, injuries. This is Layla Thompson. Mrs. Thompson, I'm calling because your husband picked Tommy up early today. He mentioned a family emergency? The room tilts sideways. There must be some mistake. I didn't authorize. He's listed as an approved guardian, ma'am. They left about 20 minutes ago. I drop the phone, already grabbing my purse. Sophie's on her feet too, reading my panic. He wouldn't, I start, but the words die in my throat. Because he would. Because I threatened his perfect facade, and now he's retaliating. I'll call Judge Martinez, Sophie says, already dialing. Get to your house, now. The drive home is a blur of red lights and horn blasts. My hands shake so badly I nearly crash twice. When I pull into our driveway, Daniel's car is there, and through the window I can see Tommy sitting at the kitchen counter, apparently doing homework. I force myself to breathe, to walk, not run, to the door. It's unlocked. Hey, Mom! Tommy calls out cheerfully. Dad picked me up early. We got ice cream. Daniel emerges from his home office, casual as can be in his workout clothes. Layla, didn't expect you home so early. Tommy, sweetie, could you go upstairs for a minute? My voice sounds strange, tight. Dad and I need to talk. Once Tommy's gone, I advance on Daniel. You had no right? No right? He cuts me off, voice low but sharp. He's my son too, and since you're clearly planning something with Sophie Miller, I thought it was time we had a real conversation about custody arrangements. Custody? The word hits like a slap. You think after what you've done? What I've done? He steps closer, and for the first time, I see something ugly in his familiar face. You're the one meeting with lawyers, making accusations. I'm a vice president at one of the largest tech companies in the country. Who do you think the courts will believe? The dedicated father with a stellar career or the bitter housewife who gave up her job years ago? My hands curl into fists. You really want to do this? Fine. Let's talk about Rachel. Let's talk about the money you've been hiding. Let's talk about all of it, Daniel. Something flickers in his eyes. Uncertainty? Fear? But it's gone quickly, replaced by that smooth corporate confidence. Careful, Layla. You're playing a game you can't win. Watch me. I pull out my phone, showing him the screen. I just recorded everything you said, and Sophie's already filing emergency custody papers based on your little stunt today. Still think I can't win? He steps back, reassessing. I see the moment he realizes I'm not the same woman who used to defer to his every decision. We could work this out, he says, softer now. For Tommy's sake. You're right about one thing, I reply, heading for the stairs. This is about Tommy, and I'm not letting you use him as a pawn. I pause at the bottom step, turning back. Oh, and Daniel, Rachel's not the only one who can play office politics. I wonder what the board would think about those creative accounting practices you've been using. His face pales, and I feel a fierce satisfaction as I climb the stairs to my son. The game has changed, and Daniel's about to learn I'm not playing by his rules anymore. Daniel's company laptop sits on our kitchen counter like a loaded gun. He forgot it this morning in his rush to leave, the first time in 15 years I've seen him make such a careless mistake. My hands hover over the keyboard, trembling. The password screen mocks me, but I know what to try. Tommy's adoption date. It works on the first attempt. My throat tightens as his email opens. Hundreds of messages from Rachel, dating back 18 months. I start with the oldest, watching their relationship unfold in reverse like a car crash in slow motion. Got the presentation ready for tomorrow? Dinner after? Becomes, I miss the way you look at me. Becomes, last night was incredible. The front door clicks. I freeze, but it's only Tommy, home from his friend's house. Mom, why are you using Dad's computer? I close the laptop, forcing a smile. Just checking some family photos, sweetie. How was Jason's? He drops his backpack, frowning. You're crying. I touch my cheek, surprised to find it wet. Just allergies. Hey, want to order pizza? My phone buzzes. Sophie. Emergency. Rachel just filed a harassment complaint against you at Daniel's company. Call me. The room spins. I send Tommy upstairs to do homework and dial Sophie with shaking fingers. She's claiming you've been stalking her, Sophie says without preamble. Threatening emails, phone calls. Daniel's backing her story. I laugh, a harsh sound that surprises us both. I've never even spoken to her. They've got evidence, Layla. Emails from your old account. The pieces click together. Daniel has access to my passwords, knows my old work email. He's been planning this, creating a paper trail. He's trying to discredit me, I say. Make me look unstable before I can expose the affair. It's worse. The company's legal team is involved. If this sticks, it could affect your custody case. My fingers curl around Daniel's laptop. I have proof. Emails, receipts. Don't touch that computer, Sophie cuts in sharply. Accessing it without permission could be used against you. They're already painting you as vindictive and unstable. The front door opens again. This time it's Daniel, home early for once. He sees his laptop under my hands and stops. Layla, he says quietly, warning in his voice. What are you doing? I'll call you back, I tell Sophie, hanging up. Daniel moves closer, all corporate smoothness. Accessing my work computer? That's a serious offense. The company takes cybersecurity very seriously. Like they take harassment seriously? The words burst out before I can stop them. Tell me, Daniel, did Rachel help you forge those emails, or was that all your idea? Something ugly flashes across his face. I don't know what you're talking about, but if you're having emotional difficulties, maybe we should discuss adjusting Tommy's living arrangements. Don't you dare threaten me with our son. I stand, matching his tone. I wondered why you pushed so hard for me to quit my job after the adoption. It wasn't about Tommy at all, was it? You wanted me dependent, isolated. He reaches for his laptop, but I snatch it away. You're proving my point about your stability right now. Mom? Tommy's voice from the stairs makes us both freeze. Dad? Why are you fighting? Daniel's mask slips back into place. Everything's fine, buddy. Mom's just feeling a little overwhelmed lately. I want to scream, to throw things, to tell Tommy everything. Instead, I set the laptop down carefully. You're right. I am overwhelmed. Overwhelmed by how far someone will go to protect their lies. I grab my keys and purse, moving toward the door. Daniel catches my arm. Where are you going? I lean close, whispering so Tommy can't hear. To see your father. Daniel's grip tightens painfully. Jack? He's got nothing to do with this. Really? Because he called me last week. Seems he has some interesting stories about your previous marriage. The one you never mentioned. The color drains from Daniel's face as I pull away. He knows he's lost this round, but I can see him already calculating his next move. Tommy, grab your overnight bag, I call up the stairs. We're having a sleepover at Aunt Sophie's. As we leave, I catch Daniel's reflection in the hallway mirror. For the first time, I see real fear in his eyes. Good. He should be afraid, because this isn't just about saving my reputation anymore. It's about making sure he never hurts anyone else the way he hurt us. Sophie's guest room feels like exile, but at least Tommy's finally asleep. I scroll through the photos on my phone, evidence I've been gathering. Daniel and Rachel at company events, standing too close. Credit card statements, hotel receipts. Each piece feels hollow now, useless against the narrative they've created. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. We should talk. Coffee tomorrow? Rachel? My fingers hover over the keypad. It's probably a trap. More ammunition for their harassment claims. But curiosity wins. Where and when? The response comes quickly. Riverside Cafe, 10 a.m. Come alone. I find Rachel exactly where she said she'd be. Perfectly put together in her designer suit. She doesn't look like someone having an affair with my husband. She looks like someone who's won. I'm recording this conversation, I say, sitting down. She smiles, pushing a manila envelope across the table. So am I, but you'll want to see these first. Inside are more photos. Daniel with another woman, not Rachel. The timestamps show last week. Her name's Christine, Rachel says, stirring her coffee. She works in accounting. I found out about her 3 days ago. My laugh sounds strange, even to me. Is this supposed to make us allies? This is supposed to make you smart, Rachel leans forward. Daniel's being considered for chief operating officer. The board votes next month. A messy divorce, harassment allegations. It all works in his favor. Poor, successful executive, unstable wife making accusations. And you're telling me this out of kindness? I'm telling you because he promised me that position 2 months ago. Then I found these. She taps the envelope. He's playing us both, Layla, and he's better at it than we thought. My phone buzzes. Sophie calling. I ignore it. What do you want? The same thing you do. To watch him lose everything. Rachel pulls out another envelope. These are records of irregular financial transactions. Nothing illegal, but questionable enough to make the board nervous, especially combined with his pattern of personal indiscretions. Why should I trust you? Because I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to verify everything yourself. But quickly, before he destroys both our lives. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Daniel. Tommy's school called. He never showed up this morning. The world stops. I dial Sophie's number with trembling fingers. I've been trying to reach you, she says immediately. Tommy's fine. He's with Jack. Jack? How? Daniel's father picked him up. Said you asked him to. Sophie pauses. Layla, there's something else. The harassment case against you? It's being dropped. All charges withdrawn. I look at Rachel, who's watching me with an unreadable expression. I have to go, I tell Sophie, standing. Rachel catches my arm. Remember what I said. You've got 48 hours before the board meets. After that, none of this matters. I drive to Jack's house in a daze, the envelopes from Rachel burning a hole in my bag. Tommy's playing video games when I arrive, happy and oblivious. Jack stands in his kitchen, looking exactly like Daniel will in 30 years. I should have reached out sooner, he says, pouring coffee. But Daniel, he's good at isolating people. Why did you pick up Tommy? Because Daniel called his school pretending to be me. Said he had permission to take him out of state for a few days. Jack's hands shake slightly. I still have friends at the school. They called to confirm. My coffee cup clatters against the saucer. He was going to take Tommy? History repeats itself. Jack pulls out an old photo. Daniel as a child with a woman I've never seen. His mother, my first wife. Daniel told you she died, right? The truth is, she left. He never forgave her, or me for letting her go. I think of the envelopes in my bag, of Rachel's warning, of all the pieces falling into place. I need your help, I tell Jack. But it has to be now. Today. He nods, understanding in his eyes. What's the plan? I pull out my phone, scrolling to Daniel's company directory. First, we're going to call Christine from accounting. Then we're going to the board meeting. And Daniel, he's going to learn what it feels like to lose everything he thought he owned. Christine's hands shake as she slides the USB drive across Jack's kitchen table. Outside, the sun is setting, casting long shadows through the windows. Tommy's upstairs, still blissfully lost in his video games. There's more than just the financial records, she says, voice barely above a whisper. Daniel, he made promises to a lot of people, not just Rachel and me. Jack picks up the drive, turning it over in his weathered hands. How many? 5 that I know of, all women in positions to help his career. Christine wraps her arms around herself. He told each of us we were special, that once he became COO, my laugh sounds hollow. Let me guess, he'd leave his unstable wife. Start fresh? She nods, unable to meet my eyes. The board meeting's tomorrow morning. He's already started discrediting anyone who might speak against him. My phone buzzes. Daniel calling. Again. I silence it, but not before noticing the 17 missed calls. He knows something's wrong, Jack says, watching me. He always could smell when he was losing control. The doorbell rings, making us all jump. Through the peephole, I see Rachel, looking less polished than this morning. When I open the door, I smell alcohol on her breath. They fired me, she says, pushing past me. Effective immediately. Professional misconduct. She spots Christine and laughs bitterly. Well, isn't this cozy? Rachel, I start, but she cuts me off. Don't! Just don't! You know what he told me? That you're mentally unstable. That you've been stalking all of us, creating fake evidence. The board believes him, Layla. They always believe him. Jack stands, his presence filling the room. Not always. Not this time. Who are you? Someone who's watched Daniel destroy lives for 40 years. He holds up the USB drive. And someone who still has friends on the board. My phone buzzes again. This time a text from Sophie. Daniel just filed for emergency custody. Hearing tomorrow morning. Same time as the board meeting. The room spins. I grab the counter to steady myself, feeling the walls close in. He's forcing me to choose. Tommy or justice? He planned this, I whisper. All of it. The timing, the allegations, everything. No, Jack says firmly. I did. We all turn to stare at him. He looks older suddenly, tired but determined. I leaked information about the custody hearing to Daniel's lawyer. Knew he'd jump at the chance. Jack meets my eyes. Because while you're in court fighting for Tommy, I'll be at the board meeting. With Christine, and Rachel, and every other woman he's manipulated. They won't believe you, Rachel says. You're his estranged father. They'll believe the evidence. And they'll believe this. He pulls out an old letter, yellowed with age. From his mother. Explaining why she really left. How he threatened to destroy her if she tried to take him with her. My hands shake as I read the letter. The patterns, the manipulation, the calculated cruelty, it's all there, written decades ago. He's not just going to lose his job, Jack continues. He's going to lose everything. His reputation, his power, his ability to hurt anyone else. Why now? I ask. After all these years? Because you're the first person who fought back. The first one who made me believe we could stop him. Christine stands straighter, something hardening in her expression. I'll testify, whatever it costs. Me too, Rachel says quietly. Better to burn with him than let him keep doing this. My phone buzzes one final time. Daniel. Last chance, Layla. Drop everything now or you'll never see Tommy again. I look around the room at these women, all damaged by the same man. At Jack, carrying decades of guilt and regret. At the evidence that could destroy Daniel, and the custody hearing that could destroy me. No, I say, typing my response. You've got it backwards, Daniel. You're the one who's never going to see him again. I turn to Jack. The hearing's at 9. The board meets at 10. Let's make both count. For the first time since this started, I feel something beyond anger or fear. I feel powerful. Because tomorrow, Daniel learns what happens when you underestimate the women you've wronged. The courthouse bathroom mirror shows a woman I barely recognize. I straighten my blazer, checking my phone. 8:55, 5 minutes until the custody hearing. 65 minutes until the board meeting where Jack will destroy everything Daniel built. Sophie bursts in, face flushed. Daniel's lawyer just submitted new evidence. Photos of you meeting with Rachel and Christine. They're painting it as conspiracy, harassment. My hands grip the sink. He was following me? Private investigator. They're pushing for immediate sole custody, claiming you're unstable and vindictive. She pauses. There's more. They have Tommy's therapist ready to testify. The room tilts. Dr. Evans? But she has been seeing Daniel privately for months. She'll testify that Tommy's expressed fear of your erratic behavior. My phone buzzes. Jack. Christine backed out. Rachel too. He got to them. The words blur as tears threaten. I blink them back, remembering Tommy's face this morning as Sophie's sister took him to school. See you after court, Mom. Love you. We should postpone, Sophie says, watching me. Regroup. Gather more evidence. No. I delete Jack's message. That's what Daniel expects. He thinks he knows exactly how this plays out. The courtroom feels airless when we enter. Daniel sits with his lawyer, perfectly composed in his $1,000 suit. He doesn't look like someone about to lose everything. He looks like someone who's already won. The judge reviews the new evidence, her expression growing darker. Mrs. Thompson, these are serious allegations. Meeting with your husband's colleagues in secret, accessing private company information. Your Honor, Sophie starts, but Daniel's lawyer interrupts. We have testimony from multiple witnesses about Mrs. Thompson's escalating behavior. The private investigator's photos show... The courtroom door opens. Jack walks in, followed by a woman I've never seen. She's in her 60s, elegant despite obvious tension. Daniel stands abruptly. Mother? The judge frowns. Who is this? Margaret Thompson, Your Honor. Jack's voice carries authority I've never heard before. Daniel's mother, the one he told everyone was dead. Daniel's lawyer scrambles. This is irrelevant to the custody. I have documentation, Margaret says, placing a folder on the judge's desk. Of a pattern of behavior that started when Daniel was 12. Of manipulation. Of turning family members against each other, including his current attempts to alienate his son from his mother. Objection! Daniel's lawyer shouts, but Daniel himself remains frozen, staring at the mother he claimed was dead. The therapist, I say suddenly understanding. Dr. Evans, you were her patient too, weren't you? Margaret nods. 15 years ago, when Daniel first started his pattern with other women, she helped him convince the courts I was unfit. Your Honor, Sophie interjects, we request a recess to review this new evidence. The judge studies Margaret's documents, then looks at Daniel. His perfect facade is cracking, showing something ugly underneath. Request granted. 1 hour recess. She fixes Daniel with a hard stare. And I'm calling Dr. Evans to testify about her prior relationship with this family. Daniel moves toward his mother, but Jack steps between them. The board meeting starts in 10 minutes, son. Better hurry if you want to save anything. You think this changes anything? Daniel's voice is low, dangerous. I still have Tommy's testimony, his fear of his unstable mother. Once the judge hears, Tommy, I cut in, feeling strength return. Why don't we ask him ourselves? The courtroom door opens again. Sophie's sister enters with Tommy. He runs to me but stops when he sees Daniel. Dad? Tommy's voice trembles. Why did you tell Dr. Evans those things about Mom? They weren't true. Daniel's face goes white. Tommy, you don't understand. I recorded it, Tommy says, on my phone, like Mom taught me to do when something feels wrong. He pulls out his phone, hands it to Sophie. I didn't want to help you hurt her. In that moment, watching Daniel's perfect world crumble, I feel no satisfaction. Only sadness for the boy watching his father's true nature emerge. The board meeting starts soon, I tell Daniel quietly. Better hurry, though I doubt they'll believe anything you say now. He leaves without another word, but his mother stays. Together, we watch him walk away, his shoulders bent under the weight of his own lies. The judge returns, and I hold Tommy close as Sophie presents his recording. Sometimes I realize the best revenge isn't about destroying someone. It's about letting them destroy themselves. The boardroom doors slam open as Daniel storms in, 30 minutes late and coming undone at the seams. His perfect hair is disheveled, his tie askew. The board members stare, unused to seeing their polished vice president so rattled. This meeting is private, he snaps, then freezes when he sees me sitting beside Jack. Actually, the board chairman says, Mrs. Thompson was just sharing some fascinating information about company finances. I slide the USB drive across the gleaming table. Christine from accounting sends her regards. Daniel lunges for it, but Jack blocks his path. Sit down, son. For once in your life, face what you've done. You have no right to be here, Daniel snarls. Either of you. This is corporate harassment. Like the harassment complaints you manufactured against your wife? The chairman's voice cuts through Daniel's protests. Or the multiple affairs with employees? The misappropriated funds? These are lies. Clearly my unstable wife is perfectly stable, Margaret says, entering the room. The board members murmur as she takes her seat. As the court determined 20 minutes ago when they granted her full custody. Daniel's facade cracks completely. He whirls on me, mask gone, revealing something dark and desperate. You planned this, all of it. Turn my own parents against me. No, Daniel. I keep my voice steady. You did that yourself. Just like you turned Tommy against you when you tried to use him to hurt me. Tommy? His laugh is harsh. He's not even our real son. We bought him, like everything else in our perfect little life. The room goes deadly quiet. I stand slowly, feeling everyone's eyes on us. That's where you're wrong. Tommy was never bought. He was loved. Something you never understood about either of us. Mrs. Thompson, the chairman interrupts, please continue with the financial evidence. I shake my head. You don't need me for that. Rachel and Christine are waiting outside. They'll tell you everything about the manipulation, the promises, the threats. I'm done here. You can't leave, Daniel says, desperation creeping into his voice. You wanted revenge. Well, congratulations. You've ruined me. At least stay to watch. That's the difference between us, Daniel. I never wanted revenge. I wanted justice. For Tommy. For your mother. For every woman you used and discarded. I gather my things, suddenly tired. The rest is up to the board. Security will escort you out, Mr. Thompson, the chairman says. Your employment is terminated, effective immediately. The police will want to discuss the financial irregularities. Daniel stands there, power draining away like water, as two security guards enter. You'll regret this, he says, but his voice holds no power anymore. All of you. No, Jack says quietly. The only regret here is that I didn't stop you sooner. I walk out before the guards reach Daniel, Margaret, and Jack following. In the hallway, Rachel and Christine wait with their own stories, their own evidence. They nod as I pass, understanding in their eyes. My phone buzzes. Sophie. Tommy's asking for you, says he wants ice cream. I smile, remembering that family dinner that feels like a lifetime ago. The night I first saw Daniel's text from Rachel. The night everything changed. Mom? I turn. Daniel stands between the security guards, his perfect suit wrinkled, his empire crumbling. For a moment, I see the man I married, the father Tommy loved. Then it's gone, replaced by what was always there beneath the surface. "It wasn't supposed to end like this," he says. "No," I agree. "It was supposed to end with you destroying everyone who loved you. Like always. I did love you. Once. No, Daniel. You loved what we represented. The perfect wife, the perfect son, the perfect life. But real love? That requires truth." The guards lead him away, and Margaret touches my arm. "Ice cream sounds wonderful," she says. "Think there's room for a grandmother at that table?" I look at her, at Jack, at the family emerging from the ashes of Daniel's lies. "There's always room for truth," I say, "and new beginnings." As we leave, I hear Daniel's voice echo down the corridor, making threats, promises, excuses. But his words have no power anymore. The truth has set us all free. The envelope arrives on a Tuesday bearing the prison's return address. I recognize Daniel's handwriting immediately. Precise, controlled, just like he used to be. The letter sits unopened on my desk while I review contracts for my new marketing consultancy. Tommy bursts in, brandishing his science project. "Mom, we won first place!" I pull him close, breathing in the scent of his shampoo and victory. "Of course you did. Want to celebrate with Grandma Margaret and Grandpa Jack tonight? Can we get ice cream after?" "Always ice cream after," I say, and he runs off to call them. The letter catches my eye again. 3 months since Daniel's sentencing for financial fraud. 6 months since the divorce. The unopened envelope holds his latest attempt at... what? Reconciliation? Manipulation? The old me would have torn it open immediately, desperate to understand. My phone buzzes. Rachel. "Thought you should know. Christine got the promotion. Head of Financial Operations. The board's really turning things around." I smile, remembering Christine's testimony that helped put Daniel away. Sometimes Justice wears a pencil skirt and carries an accounting degree. The doorbell rings. Sophie enters without waiting, legal papers in hand. "Final settlement documents. Once you sign, everything's done." I take the papers but don't sign immediately. "Have you heard from Dr. Evans?" "She surrendered her license. Turns out Daniel wasn't her only ethical violation." Sophie notices the letter. "From him?" "Haven't decided if I'm reading it." She sits across from me. "Whatever's in there, it doesn't change anything." I know. I pick up the envelope, feeling its weight. But maybe I need to read it. Not for him. For me. The letter is shorter than I expected. "Layla, they say, write what you know is true. Here's what I know. I destroyed everything good in my life because I couldn't stand that it was real. Tommy's love, your strength, my parents' hope for redemption. I made everyone feel crazy because I was terrified of my own madness. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But Tommy should know something true about his father, so here it is. I loved him. Not well, not right, but I did. And you loved him better than I ever could. Daniel." Sophie watches me fold the letter. "You okay?" "Better than okay." I sign the settlement papers with steady hands. I used to think revenge would feel like winning, but this feels like something else. Freedom? Peace. Tommy's voice carries from the kitchen, laughing with Jack on the phone about ice cream flavors. Margaret's wind chimes, a housewarming gift for our new home, tinkle in the breeze through the open window. I stand, dropping Daniel's letter in the shredder. "Coming to dinner? Tommy's science project won first place." "Wouldn't miss it." Sophie gathers the signed papers. "You know, when you first called me about Daniel's text messages, I never imagined we'd end up here." "Neither did I." I grab my keys, hearing Tommy thunder down the stairs. I thought I was fighting to destroy Daniel. Turns out I was fighting to save myself. "Mom!" Tommy calls. "Grandpa Jack says he's bringing that weird ice cream with the coffee in it. Tell him you're too young for coffee ice cream." "But Mom!" I catch my reflection in the window, no longer the desperate woman who discovered her husband's betrayal over dinner. Something stronger has emerged from those ashes. The shredded pieces of Daniel's letter scatter in the wastebasket. Maybe he meant every word. Maybe it's another manipulation. It doesn't matter anymore. The truth isn't in his words, it's in the family waiting at the ice cream shop, in Tommy's laughter, in the career I'm rebuilding, in the peace I've found. Ready? Sophie asks. I lock my office, leaving the past behind. Ready? Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't in destroying your enemy. It's in building something beautiful from the wreckage they left behind. Something true. Tommy races ahead to the car, already debating ice cream flavors with himself. I follow more slowly, savoring each step toward our future. The wind chimes sing their gentle song, and I think, this is what freedom sounds like. This is what truth feels like. This is what winning really means.
The message glowed on my phone screen, stark and accusatory. Your mother has been stealing from Thompson & Co. for years. Check the offshore accounts. My name is Mary, and until 10 minutes ago, I was having a perfectly normal Tuesday at the office. Now my hands wouldn't stop shaking as I read the text for the 20th time. The number was blocked, the words were simple, but they threatened to unravel my entire world. I called my father immediately. Dad, we need to talk. Now. Mary, what's wrong? You sound... Your office. Please, it's important. The walk to his corner office felt like crossing a minefield. Every step brought another memory. Mom's designer clothes, the vacation home in Aspen, James's private school tuition. The math wasn't adding up anymore. Dad looked up from his desk when I entered, his reading glasses perched on his nose, surrounded by stacks of quarterly reports. The same office where he'd taught me to count change when I was 6, where he'd given me my first job filing papers at 14. Someone sent me this. I thrust my phone at him. His face changed as he read. Not surprise, I realized with a punch to the gut. Recognition. Sit down, sweetheart. You knew? The words came out like broken glass. He removed his glasses, rubbing the bridge of his nose. It's complicated. Complicated? She's stealing from you, from us. Your mother, she has expensive tastes, always has. He sighed, suddenly looking every day of his 52 years. When we separated, there were arrangements made. Arrangements? Dad, that's not an arrangement, that's theft. Mary? Does Robert know? Does her precious new husband have any idea she's still bleeding you dry? Dad's silence was answer enough. I paced the office, past the family photos he still kept on the walls. Mom smiling at my high school graduation before she left us for Robert Mitchell and his corner office at a rival firm. Before she had James, and built her perfect new life, funded by money she apparently never stopped taking from us. Why didn't you stop her? Because she threatened to take you. His voice cracked. Back when you were still a minor. Said she'd fight for full custody, drag everything into the open. The company couldn't have survived the scandal. You wouldn't have survived the custody battle. I stopped pacing. I'm not a minor anymore. No, he agreed quietly. You're not. My phone buzzed again. Another message from the unknown number. Proof in the Cayman accounts. Password. James Robert 2008. She named the account after them, I said, my voice hollow. Her new family. Dad reached for the phone, but I pulled it back. Don't. I'm handling this. Mary, please, let it go. We've managed... Managed what? To let her win? To watch her parade around town with her perfect new life while she bleeds you dry? I could feel years of buried resentment bubbling to the surface. She left us, Dad. Left you to raise me alone while she played happy families with Robert and James, and now I find out she's been stealing from us the whole time? It's worth everything. I straightened my spine, feeling steel replace the shock in my system. I'm not that scared little girl anymore, and you're not her victim. This ends now. What are you going to do? I looked at the family photos one last time, at my mother's perfect smile and manicured hands. I'm going to make her pay, not just the money, everything. Dad slumped in his chair. She's still your mother. No, I said, turning toward the door. She's my first target. The Cayman account's password worked like a key clicking into place. Each transaction record felt like another betrayal, neat rows of numbers that told an ugly story. I'd been up all night, tracking the money trail, watching it flow from Thompson & Co. into my mother's hidden accounts. My office door creaked open. "I brought coffee," Dad said, setting a steaming cup on my desk. His eyes flickered to my computer screen. "Found anything?" "Everything." I turned the monitor toward him. "Look at the dates. The first transfer was 2 weeks after James was born. Then bigger amounts when he started private school. Christmas bonuses that never existed. Fake vendor payments. She's been bleeding us for 15 years. Dad's hand trembled as he reached for his own coffee. "Mary, I know you're angry." "This isn't anger." I pulled up another spreadsheet. "This is methodical. See these transfers? They match exactly when she took James to Europe last summer, while you were taking out a second mortgage on your house. The mortgage wasn't to keep the company afloat during COVID. I know." I stood up, pacing. Because she was still taking her cut even then, even when we almost went under. My phone buzzed. A text from James. "Hey sis, Mom's acting weird. Says you're spreading lies about her. What's going on?" "She's already playing defense," I muttered, showing Dad the message. "He's just a boy, Mary. Don't drag him into this." "She already did that." I typed back, "Family dinner tomorrow? We need to talk." James replied instantly, "Mom says she's too busy." "Of course she is." I grabbed my coat. "I'm going over there." "Mary, wait." "No more waiting." I was already halfway to the elevator. 15 years is enough. The drive to my mother's house felt surreal. The gates opened automatically. She'd never bothered to remove my access code. Her Mercedes sat in the circular driveway next to Robert's Range Rover. Such nice cars for such dirty money. James opened the door before I could knock. At 15, he was already taller than me, gangly and uncertain in that teenage way. "Mom's in her office," he said, then lower. "She's been making calls all morning." "Damage control," I said, squeezing his shoulder as I passed. "Stay close, okay?" Mom's office door was closed. I could hear her voice, that fake sweet tone she used when she was cornering someone. "Robert, darling, Mary's just confused. You know how emotional she gets." I pushed the door open. She sat at her white desk, perfectly coiffed as always, phone to her ear. Her eyes widened when she saw me. "I'll call you back," she said quickly, hanging up. "Mary, what a surprise. I was just calling Robert to poison him against me?" I dropped a stack of printouts on her desk. "Before he sees these?" She didn't touch the papers. "Whatever you think you've found." "I found everything." I leaned forward, planting my hands on her desk. "Every transfer, every fake invoice, every dollar you stole from Dad while playing happy families with your new husband and son." "Careful, Mary." Her voice went cold. "You're making accusations you can't take back." "Can I? The password to your Cayman account is James Robert 2008. Want to explain that to Dad's lawyers?" Something flickered in her eyes. Fear, maybe. Good. "You wouldn't dare! It would destroy the company, your father's legacy." "Don't!" My voice shook. "Don't pretend you care about his legacy. You've been destroying it for 15 years. "Mom?" James stood in the doorway, face pale. "What's she talking about?" "Nothing, sweetheart." Her mask slipped back on. "Adult problems. Why don't you—" "Show him," I said. "Show him the papers. Show him where his private school tuition really came from. Show him how you funded his perfect life." "Get out." She stood up, hands trembling. "Get out of my house." "Your house?" I laughed. "The one Dad's company paid for? That house?" "Mom?" James's voice cracked. "Is it true?" She turned to him, reaching out. "James, darling." He stepped back. The hurt in his eyes mirrored what I'd felt at his age, watching her walk away from us. "Just tell me the truth, for once." Her silence was answer enough. I gathered the papers, leaving one sheet behind, a summary of all her transfers. "Family dinner tomorrow," I said. "Everyone. Or these go to the police." I walked out, hearing James's footsteps follow me. Behind us, for the first time in my life, my mother had nothing to say. The family dinner table stretched before me like a battlefield. Robert sat at one end, his usual cheerful demeanor replaced by a granite-faced silence. Dad occupied the other end,
hands clasped tightly around his water glass. James slumped in his chair, picking at his untouched pasta. And Mother, she perched in her usual spot, perfectly composed except for the slight tremor in her hand as she lifted her wine glass. "The money needs to be returned," I said, breaking the suffocating silence. "All of it." "Mary," Robert's voice cracked slightly. "There must be some mistake. Susan would never—" "Show him," I told her. "Show your husband the accounts you've been hiding." Mother set down her glass with precise control. "Robert, darling, I can explain everything." "Can you explain the private school tuition?" I pushed. "The summer homes, the trips to Europe, all paid for with money stolen from Dad's company while he was taking out loans to keep it afloat?" "That's enough." Mother's voice turned sharp. "You have no idea what sacrifices I've made." "Sacrifices?" The word tasted bitter. "Like abandoning your first family to build a shinier version with Robert?" "I never abandoned you." Her mask slipped just slightly. "I gave you everything. You gave me designer clothes and premium credit cards, blood money from Dad's company." I pulled out my phone, scrolling through the evidence. "Want to see the transfers that coincide with every Christmas gift you ever gave me? Each one stolen from Dad's future, from his retirement?" Robert reached for the phone with trembling fingers. "Susan, please tell me this isn't true." "It's complicated," she whispered. James made a choked sound. "Mom, how could you?" "To give you a better life." She turned to him, desperate now. "Everything I did was for you, for us." "Stop lying." My voice cut through her excuses. "It was for you. Always for you. The status, the lifestyle, the perfect family image. James and I were just props in your performance." "That's not true." But her eyes darted to Robert, calculating her next move. "Then explain the account password." I watched her face pale. "James Robert 2008. The year you left us for your new family. The year you started stealing more aggressively to maintain your facade." Robert stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. "I need some air." "Robert, wait." Mother reached for him, but he jerked away. "Don't." He looked at her like he'd never seen her before. "Just don't." The front door slammed behind him. James pushed back from the table, tears streaming down his face. "I hate you," he whispered, then fled upstairs. "Look what you've done," Mother hissed at me. "Are you happy now, destroying everyone's lives?" "You destroyed them," Dad spoke for the first time, his quiet voice carrying more weight than our shouting. "The moment you chose greed over family." "Tom," her voice softened, trying a different approach. "We can work this out. For Mary's sake, for James. Don't you dare use us as shields anymore." I stood up, planting both hands on the table. "You have 24 hours to confess everything to Robert and arrange repayment, or I'm going to the police." "You wouldn't." But fear flickered in her eyes. "It would ruin the company's reputation, your father's legacy. Better ruined by truth than sustained by theft." I turned to Dad. "I'm sorry, but I won't let her keep hurting us." He nodded slowly. "I know, sweetheart. I know." Mother's composure cracked completely. "You can't do this to me. I'm your mother." "No." I headed for the door, pausing to look back at her. "A mother protects her children. She doesn't use them as cover for her crimes." 24 hours, I repeated. Tick-tock. As I walked out, I heard something shatter. Probably her wine glass against the wall. But for the first time in my life, her rage didn't frighten me. I pulled out my phone and dialed. "Everything okay?" James answered immediately. "Pack a bag," I told him. "You're staying with me tonight." "What about Mom?" "She has choices to make." I started my car. And so do we. Behind me, the perfect house with its perfect facade stood silent, hiding its rot beneath gleaming windows and manicured lawns, just like its owner. But not for much longer. Evelyn's garden always smelled of roses and earth, unchanged since I was a child hiding from Mother's tempers. Today, watching my grandmother's oldest friend tend her prized blooms, I felt that same desperate need for sanctuary. "She's threatening to sell her company shares," I said, accepting the tea Evelyn pressed into my hands. "To our biggest competitor." "Ah." Evelyn's weathered hand stilled on her pruning shears. And how much would that hurt Thompson and Co.? It would destroy us. She owns 15%, enough to trigger a hostile takeover if she sells to Maxwell Industries. Your mother always did know where to plant her knives. Evelyn set down her tools, studying me over her reading glasses. The question is, dear one, what are you really trying to save? James's text lit up my phone. Mom's lawyer called Dad. They're fighting downstairs. I'm trying to save my family, I said, but the words felt hollow. Are you? Evelyn's voice carried the weight of decades watching our family drama unfold. Or are you trying to punish Susan? Can it be both? Oh, Mary. She touched my cheek, her fingers cool against my skin. Revenge is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Your grandmother used to say that. My phone buzzed again. Robert this time. We need to talk. Alone. Everyone wants to talk, I muttered. Nobody wants to act. Because action means consequences. Evelyn moved to her roses, deadheading with precise snips. Once you start this war, there's no going back. Are you ready for what that means? She started it 15 years ago. Did she? Evelyn turned, something sharp in her gentle eyes. Or did it start before that? With her own mother? With the expectations that shaped her? With the fears that drove her to value security above love? Don't make excuses for her. I'm asking you to see the whole garden, not just the thorns. She handed me a perfect rose, deep red and just beginning to open. Understanding why a snake bites doesn't make the venom less deadly, but it might help you choose your antidote. My phone lit up again. Mother. You want the truth? Come home. Now. What would you do? I asked Evelyn. I would remember that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. She smiled sadly. And that family wounds cut deepest because they're inflicted with intimate knowledge of where we're most vulnerable. I stood, clutching the rose she'd given me. I can't let her win. The question isn't about winning or losing anymore, is it? Evelyn touched my arm. It's about what kind of person you become in the process. Another text from James. Mom's crying, actually crying. I've never seen her cry before. Go, Evelyn said softly. But remember, you can fight for justice without becoming what you're fighting against. The drive to Mother's house felt different this time. The security gate stood open, waiting. Robert's car was gone. Dad's truck sat in the driveway instead, its presence both comforting and ominous. Inside, voices drifted from the study. Dad's steady tone, Mother's sharp responses, James's quieter interjections. I paused in the doorway, watching them, my fractured family in tableau. Mother looked up first. Her mascara was smeared, her perfect facade cracked. I suppose you're happy now. Susan, Dad warned. No, let her speak. I stepped into the room. You wanted to tell the truth, so tell it. She laughed, a broken sound. The truth? The truth is I was terrified, of being nothing, of losing everything, of ending up like my mother, dependent on a man's charity until the day she died. So you stole instead. I secured my future. Her chin lifted. And James's future. What about my future? The words escaped before I could stop them. What about the daughter you left behind? Something flickered in her eyes, regret maybe, or just better acting. I left you with the stronger parent, the better person. She looked at Dad. I knew he'd raise you right. That's not good enough anymore. I pulled out my phone, showing her the Maxwell Industries email. Call off the sale, face the consequences, or I swear I'll... You'll what? She stood, suddenly dangerous again. Destroy everything? Burn it all down? Her smile turned razor sharp. Oh, my darling girl. You really are my daughter after all. The rose's thorns bit into my palm, drawing blood. Behind me, James made a soft sound of distress. And I realized Evelyn was right. This wasn't about winning anymore. It was about who I'd become by the end. Alex's fingers flew across his keyboard, screens of data reflecting in his glasses. Your mother's good, he muttered. But not good enough. I paced his cramped home office, coffee gone cold in my hands. What did you find? She's been moving money through shell companies, then routing it back through legitimate businesses. He pointed to a complex web of transactions. Look here, every transfer coincides with major life events. Your parents' divorce, James's birth, your father's heart attack. The last one stopped me cold. What? 3 years ago, large transfer, same day your father was hospitalized. Alex glanced up. You didn't know? My coffee cup cracked in my grip. Dad never told me about any heart attack. Keep going. The pattern changes after that. Bigger amounts, riskier moves. Alex pulled up another screen. And this morning, she started liquidating assets, fast. My phone buzzed. Robert. Susan's gone. Took James. Left her wedding ring. She's running. The realization hit like ice water. Can you trace where the money's going? Alex's typing intensified. Multiple transfers. Wait, something's wrong. His screens flickered, numbers scrolling faster than I could follow. She's not just moving money, she's... My phone rang. Dad. The company accounts are empty, he said without preamble. All of them, even the emergency reserves. The coffee cup shattered on Alex's floor. How much? Everything, Mary. She took everything. Alex's voice cut through my shock. Mary, there's more. The transfers. They're not just to offshore accounts. Some of this money is going to Maxwell Industries. The competitor who wants to buy us out. My legs gave out and I sank into Alex's spare chair. She's not running. She's destroying us. Another text from Robert. James says she's taking him to Switzerland. Private plane leaves in 2 hours. Alex, I need everything you found, now. Mary, this is serious corporate espionage territory. He looked worried. If you use this information, she'll go to prison. The words tasted like ash. My mother will go to prison. Among other things. He hesitated. There's something else. These accounts? They're not all in her name. Some are in James's. My phone buzzed again. James this time. I didn't know Mary, I swear. She made me sign papers last year, said it was for college. She's using him as a shield. The realization made me sick. Making him complicit to protect herself. Alex printed documents, the pages warm in my hands. What are you going to do? My phone lit up with a final message. Mother. You wanted war, darling. Let's see how well you learned from me. 2 hours. A private plane. My 15-year-old brother being used as a human shield by the woman who taught me everything I know about betrayal. I need you to send these documents to 3 people, I told Alex. The FBI's Financial Crimes Division, the SEC, and Maxwell Industries Board of Directors. Mary, then I need you to delete everything, all traces of your involvement. He stared at me. What are you going to do? I stood, gathering the papers. I'm going to the airport. The authorities will handle this. They'll be too late. I headed for the door. She taught me too well, Alex. I know exactly what she'll do, because it's what I would do. That's what scares you, isn't it? His voice stopped me. Not that you'll fail, that you'll succeed and become exactly like her. I thought of Evelyn's words about snakes and venom, about the choice between justice and revenge, about who I'd become by the end. No, I said quietly. I'm scared that I already am like her, and that's exactly why I have to stop her. My phone buzzed one last time. Dad. Whatever you're planning, remember, she's still his mother. I stared at the message, then at the documents in my hands. 2 hours to choose. Destroy my mother completely, or let her destroy everything my father built. 2 hours to decide what kind of person I really was. The papers felt heavy as sin as I walked to my car. Behind me, Alex's printer whirred again, spinning out more proof of my mother's betrayal. More ammunition for the war she'd started 15 years ago. Time to finish it. The private terminal at the airport hummed with quiet efficiency. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I watched Mother's chartered plane being prepped for takeoff. 40 minutes until departure. My evidence folder felt like lead in my hands. Security stopped me at the terminal entrance. Private access only, ma'am. My mother and brother are inside. I held up my phone, showing James's latest text. Help. Name? Susan Thompson Mitchell's daughter. The guard's expression changed. Oh, Mrs. Mitchell left instructions. You're not permitted. Mary. Robert emerged from the terminal, looking haunted. Let her through. Inside, Mother sat perfectly poised in a leather chair, designer luggage arranged around her like a fortress. James hunched beside her, shoulders tight with tension. Right on schedule, Mother said, not looking up from her phone. Though I expected the authorities, not a personal appearance. The FBI is coming. I moved closer, watching her fingers tighten on her phone. But I wanted to give you a choice first. How generous. Her smile was razor sharp. Just like I taught you, always keep one last card to play. Where's the money, Mother? Safe. Unlike Thompson & Co.'s future, she finally looked up. Did you really think I'd let your father's pathetic little company survive? After everything? This isn't about Dad anymore. No? She stood, all elegant menace. Then why are you here, Mary? To save your brother? Your father's legacy? Or just to prove you can beat me at my own game? James made a small sound like a trapped animal. Robert stepped forward. Susan, please, think about what you're doing. I have thought about it. For 15 years. Her voice turned bitter. Watching Tom play the victim, the noble businessman, while I was the greedy villain who abandoned her family. Well, if that's my role, I might as well play it perfectly. By destroying everything? My voice cracked. By using James as a shield? By securing our future? She touched James's shoulder. He flinched. Everything I did was for— Stop! James shrugged off her hand. Just stop lying. Mother's mask slipped, just for a moment. James, I saw the papers you made me sign. He stood, moving away from her. I saw the transfers. I'm not stupid. Of course not, darling. I'm your accomplice. His voice broke. You made me help you steal from Mary's dad, from everyone. To protect you. To protect yourself! He was crying now. Mary's right. You use people. You used Dad, you used Mary, and now you're using me. Mother's face hardened. Sit down, James. No. Security, she called sharply. My son is having an episode. Please escort him to the plane. 2 guards approached. James backed away. Mary? I stepped between them, evidence folder raised. Touch him, and these documents go public right now. Every transaction, every shell company, every fraud. You wouldn't. Mother's eyes narrowed. It would destroy him too, I made sure of that. Try me. We stared at each other, perfect mirrors of determination and rage. Behind us, Robert's phone buzzed. FBI's here, he said quietly. 2 minutes out. Mother smiled, cold and triumphant. Too late. She pressed a button on her phone. Through the windows, the plane's engines roared to life. The money's already gone, she continued. Transferred and untraceable. By the time they sort through the evidence, I'll be established somewhere with no extradition. And if you push? She glanced at James. Well, the records show your brother's quite involved. Such a shame, destroying a 15-year-old's future. My hands shook. You'd sacrifice your own son? I sacrificed you, didn't I? The words hit like physical blows. Behind us, sirens wailed closer. Last chance, James, Mother said. Come with me, or face what's coming. James looked at her, then at me, tears streaming down his face. I choose Mary. Mother's mask cracked completely. For 1 second I saw everything, rage, fear, loss. Then her walls slammed back up. So be it. She gathered her bag. Goodbye, children. Thank you for the lesson in loyalty. As she walked toward her plane, head high and heels clicking, I realized something terrible. Even now, part of me still wanted her to turn around, to choose us, to be the mother we needed just once. She didn't look back. The FBI burst in just as her plane began to taxi. Too late to stop her, just as she'd planned, just as she'd taught me. James gripped my hand, both of us watching our mother disappear into the sky, leaving nothing but wreckage in her wake. Again. The FBI interview room felt smaller with each passing hour. James sat across from me, his statement finally complete, hands wrapped around a cold coffee cup. There's something else, he said quietly. Something I didn't tell them. My phone buzzed. An email from an anonymous account. The timestamp showed it had been scheduled days ago. Mom knew, James continued. She knew you'd find everything. She wanted you to. I opened the email. A video attachment and 3 words. Watch it alone. How do you know? James pulled out his own phone, showing me texts from Mother dating back months. She was testing you, setting up breadcrumbs, watching how you'd follow them. The interview room door opened. Agent Chen entered with fresh coffee. Ms. Thompson, we've located your mother's plane. It landed in Geneva an hour ago. She's not there. The certainty in James's voice made both of us turn. Check the flight manifest. Check the security footage. Chen's phone rang. Her expression changed as she listened. The plane was empty. Mrs. Mitchell never boarded. My phone buzzed again. Another email. Getting warmer. She's still here, I realized. This whole thing, the plane, the dramatic exit, it was theater. Your mother's signature move, a familiar voice said from the doorway. Robert stood there, looking exhausted. The grand gesture that hides the real play. I pressed play on the video. Mother's face filled my screen, recorded in what looked like her home office. Hello, darling, she said. If you're watching this, you finally caught up. Good girl. But you missed the most important lesson I taught you. Always look deeper. The camera panned to show her computer screen. Banking records, Thompson & Co.'s accounts, but not the ones we'd been investigating. Your father's heart attack 3 years ago? She continued. It wasn't stress, it was guilt. He'd been embezzling for years, hiding it through the same channels I used. I found out, covered his tracks, and took the blame. After all, her smile turned bitter. I was already the villain in your story. The room spun. She's lying, I whispered. The proof is in his private server, James said softly. The one she showed me last year. The one I've been helping her protect him from. All this time, my voice cracked. You both knew? She made me promise. Said it would kill him if you ever found out. James looked away. She said she'd rather you hate her than lose faith in him. My phone lit up with coordinates, an address. She's waiting for you, Robert said. Has been all along. The drive to the address felt endless. An old warehouse by the river. Mother stood outside, elegant as ever, watching the sunset. Did you ever wonder, she said as I approached, why I never defended myself? Never told you my side? Because you're guilty. Because you needed me to be. She turned, and for the first time, I saw real tears in her eyes. You needed a villain to fight, someone to blame for everything broken in our family. Dad would never... Check his server. Ask him yourself. She held out a USB drive. I protected him because he's a good man who made desperate choices, just like I protected you, by giving you an enemy to defeat instead of a father to lose faith in. Why tell me now? Because you're strong enough to handle the truth, and because... She smiled sadly. You've become exactly what I hoped, someone strong enough to protect this family even from itself. By becoming like you? By becoming better than me? She stepped closer. I made my choice years ago, accepting the role of villain to protect the people I love. Now it's your turn to choose. Truth or comfort, justice or family? My phone buzzed. Dad, where are you? We need to talk. He knows you know, Mother said softly. The question is, what will you do about it? The USB drive felt impossibly heavy in my hand. Behind us, police sirens wailed in the distance. Time for my final choice. What would you do? I asked. Her laugh was surprisingly gentle. Oh, darling, you already know. You're your mother's daughter, after all. The sirens grew closer. We stood together, watching the sun sink into the river, 2 women who'd learned the same brutal lesson. Sometimes protecting the ones you love means becoming the villain in their story. Now I just had to decide. Was I ready to play that role? The USB drive sat untouched on my desk at Thompson & Co., next to the CEO nameplate Dad had given me this morning. His retirement announcement had shocked everyone except Mother, who'd known all along this would be his escape route. My office door opened. James slipped in, school uniform still on, looking older than 15. Did you watch it? Not yet. I touched the drive. Did you? Mom showed me last year. He settled into the chair across from me. That's when I started helping her protect him. Protect you. By letting me believe she was the villain. She's good at playing roles. He smiled sadly. Better than any of us knew. My computer hummed, waiting. Outside my office, I could hear the familiar rhythm of the company Dad had built, that Mother had protected, that now fell to me to preserve. The FBI's still looking for her, James said. They won't find her. I finally picked up the drive. She's where she's always been. Watching, waiting, making sure we're okay. Are we okay? The question hung between us, heavy with everything we'd learned about family and sacrifice, about the roles we play to protect the ones we love. Dad's upstairs, I said, instead of answering, clearing out his office. Are you going to tell him you know? My computer asked if I wanted to open the drive's contents, evidence of Dad's desperate choices, proof of Mother's sacrifice, the truth that would shatter everything, or maybe heal it. What would Mom do? James asked softly. She'd protect him. I ejected the drive without opening it, like she always has. And the company? I stood looking out over the city, where somewhere Mother was watching her plan unfold exactly as she'd designed. I'll do what she taught me, protect our family, all of it. Even her? Especially her. I turned back to James. Want to help? His smile was pure relief. Always. We found Dad in his office, surrounded by boxes and memories. He looked up as we entered, guilt and love warring in his eyes. He knew that I knew, had probably known the moment I took the CEO position without questions. The board meeting's in an hour, I said. Your retirement announcement, my appointment. Mary, It's okay, Dad. I sat beside him, James on his other side. Some secrets protect more than they harm. He took my hand, then James's. 3 pieces of a broken family, holding on. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Proud of you. I deleted it without responding. Some conversations were better left unspoken. Some debts better left unpaid. Ready? I asked Dad. He nodded, standing straighter. We walked together to the boardroom, where the company's future waited, where my mother's legacy lived on, not in the secrets she'd kept, but in the daughter she'd shaped to protect them. The nameplate on the boardroom door caught my eye. Mary Thompson, CEO. Inside, the board members waited. Outside, somewhere in the city, Mother watched. And in my pocket, the USB drive weighed nothing at all. I opened the door, ready to play my role. Ready to become what the company needed, what my family required. Ready to be my mother's daughter in all the ways that mattered. Ladies and gentlemen, I began, let's talk about the future. Behind me, James squeezed my hand once. Support, understanding, forgiveness. Dad took his seat, finally free of his burden. And somewhere, I knew Mother was smiling, satisfied that her greatest manipulation had succeeded, turning her daughter into someone strong enough to carry the weight of necessary lies. The truth could wait. Some secrets were meant to protect, not destroy. She'd taught me that, in the end, the final lesson from a mother who'd sacrificed everything, even her daughter's love, to keep her family safe. I straightened my jacket and faced the board, ready to begin my own story of protection and sacrifice. Ready to become the guardian my family needed, even if they never knew the cost. Just like she had.
I stared at my phone, thumb hovering over the red end call button, as my mother's words hung in the air like poison. We need Emma's room ready by next month, darling. I'm sure you understand. My name is Sophia, and I just got evicted from my childhood home by a woman who traded me in for a newer model 18 years ago. You want me to move out? Just like that? The words scraped against my throat. Through the phone, I heard the distinct clink of ice in what was undoubtedly her afternoon gin and tonic. Don't be dramatic, sweetheart. Emma needs the space for her college preparations. Henry and I have discussed it, and we feel it's best for everyone. Her voice carried that familiar silk-wrapped steel tone, the one that brooked no argument while pretending to care. I pressed my forehead against the cool glass of my bedroom window. Correction, Emma's future bedroom window. Below, the gardener trimmed our perfect roses into even more perfect shapes, just like Mother liked everything. Perfect and controlled. Where exactly am I supposed to go? Oh, you're resourceful, darling. Perhaps your father could help? Or that nice young man you're seeing? Ben, isn't it? The casual way she suggested I lean on Dad, the parent she'd tried to poison me against for years, made my stomach turn. Right. Because dumping your first kid for your do-over family is totally normal parenting. Sophia, her voice sharpened, that's entirely unfair. We've given you everything. I laughed, the sound brittle enough to crack. Everything except a mother who gives a damn. I won't dignify that with a response. You have 30 days. Henry's lawyer will send over the formal notice. The line went dead before I could reply. My reflection stared back at me from the window. Dark hair, olive skin, nothing like Emma's golden perfection that matched our mother's Society magazine looks. The roses below blurred as tears threatened, but I blinked them back. Crying was for people who still believed their mothers loved them. My phone buzzed again. For a moment, hope fluttered. Maybe she'd realised what she'd done, maybe she'd apologise. But no, it was just Ben. Hey, beautiful. Dinner tonight. I typed back, can't. Family emergency. Call you later. The response came instantly. Everything okay? No. Nothing was okay. My mother was replacing me with her perfect daughter, my stepfather was formally evicting me, and my half-sister probably had no idea she was the weapon being used to gut me. It's fine, I replied instead. Just need some time. I looked around my room, my space for 24 years. The walls still held traces of pink from when I was 12, and believed my mother's promises that we'd always be close. The bookshelf groaned with volumes I'd collected, each one a fortress against lonely nights when she was too busy with Emma's recitals or Henry's business dinners. My phone buzzed one final time. A text from Emma. OMG, sis! Can't wait to make your old room into my study space. Mom says you're moving on to bigger things. I stared at those cheerful exclamation marks until they burned into my retinas. Sweet, oblivious Emma, who had no idea she was the golden child in our mother's game of favourites. Fine. They wanted me gone? I'd go. But first, I had some planning to do. Because the thing about being the forgotten child is that no one expects you to fight back. They forget that the quiet ones, the overlooked ones, the ones pushed aside, we're the ones who learn to watch, wait, and strike when it hurts most. I opened my laptop and started making lists. Mother always said I was resourceful. Time to prove her right. The movers hadn't even arrived yet when Henry's silver Bentley pulled into the driveway. I watched from my window as he straightened his tie, practiced his stern expression in the side mirror, and marched toward the front door like a man about to close a hostile takeover. 3 sharp knocks echoed through the house. I didn't move. Sophia? His voice carried upstairs. We need to discuss the terms of your departure. I kept packing, each book another brick in the wall I was building between myself and this house. The heavy footsteps on the stairs told me Henry wasn't accepting my silence as an answer. Your mother is very upset about your conversation yesterday. He appeared in my doorway, all Brooks Brothers suit and manufactured concern. She's had to increase her anxiety medication. Funny how that works, I said, wrapping my grandmother's crystal vase in newspaper. She kicks me out, but she's the victim. Henry's jaw tightened. We're offering you 3 months' rent at any apartment of your choosing. A generous severance package, if you will. I barked out a laugh. Severance package? I'm your stepdaughter, not an employee you're downsizing. Don't be difficult. He pulled out his phone, probably to check the stock market or his golf schedule. The lawyer will be here at noon with the paperwork. Sign it, take the money, and we can all move forward amicably. Does Emma know you're paying me to disappear? His finger paused mid-scroll. Leave Emma out of this. She's very excited about university and doesn't need any complications. Complications? Is that what I am now? A car door slammed outside. Through the window, I watched my mother emerge from her Mercedes, shopping bags hanging from both arms. Probably more decorations for Emma's room to be. Your mother and I have provided for you well beyond what was required, Henry said, his voice taking on that boardroom edge. It's time for you to stand on your own feet. Like you stood on yours? Or did marrying my mother's trust fund help with that? The slap of his hand against my doorframe made me flinch. You will not speak to me that way in my house. Don't worry, I said, meeting his gaze. Soon it'll be all yours again. Well, yours and your real family's. He opened his mouth to respond, but Mother's voice floated up from below. Henry? Darling? The interior designer is here to discuss Emma's new study nook. Study nook. Of course, because my entire room wasn't enough. We're done here, Henry said, straightening his jacket. Noon. Don't be late. After he left, I pulled out my phone and called the one person who'd never traded me in for a better model. Dad, remember when you said I could always come home? My voice cracked. I think it's time. Already clearing out the guest room, kiddo. No hesitation, no conditions, just love. Want me to bring the truck? Please. I swallowed hard. And, Dad, there's something else. I found some interesting documents in Henry's home office last night about his company's offshore accounts. The silence on the other end stretched for 3 heartbeats. Sophia, I know what you're going to say. But they made copies of my house key without asking. The office was unlocked, and it's amazing what people leave lying around when they think you're too unimportant to notice anything. More silence. Then, we'll talk when I get there. 1 hour. I hung up and went back to packing, but this time I was smiling. Henry wasn't the only one who knew how to play corporate games. The flash drive in my pocket contained enough evidence to make his next board meeting very interesting. My phone buzzed with a text from Emma. Mum's showing me the most amazing wallpaper options. Can't wait for you to see how I transform your old room. Miss you already. I stared at those hearts, those exclamation points. Sweet, innocent Emma. Maybe someday she'd understand why her big sister had to burn it all down. But for now I had a lawyer to meet, a father to hug, and a stepfather to destroy. Time to show them exactly what kind of complication I could be. The Instagram notification hit like a slap. There on my mother's perfectly curated feed was a photo of our dining room transformed into something out of Architectural Digest. Crystal chandeliers dripped from the ceiling, white roses spilled across tables, and a banner proclaimed, "Welcome to University, Emma," in gold script. My hands shook as I scrolled through the album. Every society matron in town posed with their champagne flutes. Henry beamed beside Emma, who wore the pearl necklace that had been promised to me on my own graduation, before Mother decided it suited Emma's colouring better. You okay? Dad asked from his workshop doorway. I'd been living in his modest craftsman house for 2 weeks, sleeping in a room that smelled of sawdust and honesty. They threw her a party. My voice sounded distant even to myself. A surprise celebration. In the house I just got kicked out of. Dad set down his sanding block. Want me to make us some coffee? I want to make them hurt. The words hung between us, sharp and dangerous. Dad crossed the room and gently took my phone. The documents you found, he said quietly. How bad are they? Bad enough to trigger an SEC investigation. I met his eyes. Bad enough to make the society pages for all the wrong reasons. The doorbell rang before he could respond. Through the front window I saw Ben's familiar silhouette. I'll give you 2 some space, Dad said, heading back to his workshop. Just remember who you are, Sophia. Revenge might feel good, but it changes people. Ben didn't wait for me to explain when I opened the door. Your mother just called me. My stomach dropped. What? She invited me to dinner, said she wants to discuss your future and make things right. He ran a hand through his hair. I told her I'd think about it. You're not actually considering it. Maybe we should hear her out. She seemed genuinely manipulative, I cut in. The word you're looking for is manipulative. My phone buzzed. Emma again. The party was amazing. Mom says she tried to reach you, but your number's not working. Everyone missed you. I showed Ben the message, then pulled up Mother's Instagram. His jaw tightened as he swiped through the photos. Okay, he said finally. That's pretty cold. You know what's colder? This. I pulled out my laptop and opened the files I'd copied from Henry's office. Look at these transfer dates. Look at these account numbers. Every time Henry claimed the company was too stretched to give employees raises, he was funneling millions offshore. Ben's eyes widened as he scrolled. Sophia, this is justice. I took the laptop back. They want to play happy families? Fine. Let's see how happy they are when the FBI starts asking questions. Think about Emma, he said softly. She's innocent in all this. Emma gets everything. The house, the pearls, the perfect party. She'll survive having her college funds slightly dented by Daddy's legal fees. My phone rang. Mother's name flashed on the screen. Sophia, darling, she purred when I answered. I've been thinking, perhaps we could have lunch at the club tomorrow, just us girls. Sorry, I'm busy getting evidence of Henry's fraud to the right authorities. The silence that followed was worth every second of the past 2 weeks' pain. What did you say? Her voice had lost its silk. Check your email in about an hour. I sent copies to the board members too. Oh, and Mother? Those pearls you gave Emma? They look fake in the photos. I hung up before she could respond. Ben stared at me like he wasn't sure whether to be impressed or terrified. You really sent it to the board? Not yet. I opened my email. But I will. Unless... Unless what? I smiled, thinking of all those society matrons with their champagne flutes, of Emma's perfect party, of Henry's smug face. Unless they're willing to negotiate terms that don't involve treating me like a disposable inconvenience. My phone exploded with notifications. Mother, Henry, even Emma. I silenced them all and turned to Ben. Want to help me draft an email that'll make Henry's blood pressure match his offshore account numbers? 3 days after my threat, Henry's lawyer showed up at Dad's front door with a settlement offer. I watched from the kitchen as Dad signed for the envelope, his carpenter's hands steady against the crisp legal paper. You don't have to open it, he said, placing the envelope on the counter between us like a loaded gun. I traced the embossed law firm logo. Did you know Mother called the shop yesterday? His shoulders tensed. What did she want? To remind you about the non-disclosure agreement from the divorce. Said it might be relevant to our current situation. Dad's laugh was bitter coffee and old wounds. 20 years later and she's still trying to control the narrative. I opened the envelope. The numbers made my eyes widen. 7 figures, plus conditions. Full confidentiality. No contact with Emma. A formal statement absolving Henry of any wrongdoing. They're scared, I said, pushing the papers away. This is panic money. It's life-changing money, Dad corrected quietly. Enough to start your own business. Buy a house, build something real. My phone buzzed. Ben's text read, Henry just offered me a job. Executive track, 6 figures. Says he's impressed with my potential. The kitchen suddenly felt too small, too warm. I showed Dad the message. He's trying to buy Ben too, I said. Probably thinks he can drive a wedge between us. Or maybe he's trying to make amends in his own way. By bribing my fiancé instead of apologizing to me. Dad started to respond when another text came through. From Emma this time. But instead of her usual stream of hearts and exclamation points, it was just a photo. My old room, completely gutted. The walls I'd painted myself stripped bare. The window seat where I'd read books for 18 years ripped out. Renovation started today, Emma wrote. Mum says we're erasing all the negative energy. Something snapped inside me. I grabbed my keys. Sophia, Dad called after me. Where are you going? To create some negative energy. I was halfway to the car when Ben's truck pulled into the driveway. He jumped out, waving a folder. You need to see this, he said. I did some digging after Henry's offer. Inside the folder were photos. Henry at restaurants with women who weren't my mother, bank statements showing regular payments to addresses I didn't recognize, and finally, a birth certificate. A child. A boy. 3 years old. There's more, Ben said softly. The offshore accounts, they're not just for tax evasion. He's been building trust funds for all his secret families. The world tilted sideways. Does Mother know? Based on these lawyer bills, Ben pointed to a statement. She's known for at least a year. Probably why she's so desperate to maintain their social status. I thought of Emma's party photos, Mother's frozen smile, the desperate way they were trying to project perfect family happiness. My phone rang. Henry's name flashed on the screen. "Have you considered our offer?" he asked without preamble. "I'm considering a lot of things," I replied, "like how many half-siblings Emma doesn't know about." The silence crackled with static and fear. "My office. 1 hour," he said finally. "We need to talk." "No." I surprised myself with how calm I felt. The country club, public space, bring Mother, and Emma. "Sophia, 1 hour? Or the board gets everything, including the birth certificate." I hung up and looked at Ben and Dad, these two men who'd never once made me feel like I needed to earn their love. "You don't have to do this," Ben said. "Actually, I do." I picked up Henry's settlement offer and tore it in half. They wanted to erase me. Fine. But they don't get to decide how this story ends. Dad touched my shoulder. "Just remember, revenge might feel like justice, but it can poison everything it touches." "Don't worry," I said, watching the torn papers flutter. "This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about truth. And Emma deserves to know exactly what kind of family she's really part of." The country club dining room hummed with hushed conversations and crystal chimes. I sat alone at a corner table watching Henry and Mother sweep in through the main entrance, their faces fixed in practiced smiles. No Emma. "Darling," Mother air-kissed my cheek, her perfume a suffocating cloud of Chanel. "You're looking comfortable." I touched the simple silver pendant Dad had made me, a stark contrast to her diamonds. "Where's Emma?" "At tennis practice," Henry said smoothly, signaling for the waiter. "This discussion doesn't concern her." "Everything concerns her now." I pulled out my phone, showing them the birth certificate, especially her new baby brother, though I suppose half-brother is more accurate. Mother's hand trembled as she lifted her water glass. Henry's face remained impassive, but a muscle twitched in his jaw. "How much?" he asked. "You still think this is about money?" "Everything is about money, Sophia." Mother's voice carried that familiar edge of disdain. "Don't pretend you're above it." The waiter approached. Henry ordered scotch. Mother requested a gin martini. I asked for coffee black, Dad's drink of choice when making tough decisions. "You're right," I said after the waiter left. "It is about money. It's about the money you're stealing from your employees' pensions to fund your secret families. It's about the money you used to buy Mother's silence. It's about Emma's trust fund, built on fraud and lies." "You ungrateful little—" Mother started, but Henry cut her off with a sharp gesture. "What do you want?" he asked. I pulled out a folder, identical to the one containing their secrets. "Sign the company over to the employees. Set up a proper pension fund. Resign from the board." Henry's laugh was ugly. "You're delusional." "No, I'm thorough." I opened the folder, revealing blank papers. "The real documents are with my lawyer. You have 24 hours to decide." "And Emma?" Mother's voice cracked slightly. "You'd destroy her future too. Her college fund. Like you destroyed mine?" The words tasted like acid. "Besides, I'm sure one of Henry's other families can help out. How many are there now? 3? 4? The drinks arrived. Henry downed his scotch in one gulp. "I'll destroy you," he said quietly. "Every job application, every loan, every opportunity, I'll poison them all." "Try it." I stood, leaving the folder on the table. "Oh, and check your phone. Emma's tennis practice ended an hour ago. She's probably seen my text by now." Mother's face went ash white. "What text?" "Just some family photos." The kind Henry takes on his business trips to visit his other kids. The explosion came exactly as I'd predicted. Mother's martini crashed to the floor. Henry lunged for his phone. Heads turned throughout the dining room, their precious social circle witnessing the perfect facade crumble. "You bitch," Mother hissed, grabbing my arm. "After everything we've given you—" "Given me?" I yanked free. "You gave me away the moment Emma was born. At least now she knows she's not the only replacement child." My phone buzzed. "Emma, is it true? Please tell me it's not true." Another message followed. "I'm at Dad's workshop. Please come." Dad's workshop, not their mansion, not her perfect room with its fresh paint covering my memories. 24 hours, I reminded them, turning to leave. "Oh, and Mother, those anxiety pills you're reaching for, they expired last year. Might want to get a refill. Something tells me you'll need them." Outside, Ben waited in his truck. "How'd it go?" "Emma's at Dad's." My hands were shaking now that no one could see. "She knows. You okay?" I watched through the window as Henry and Mother's argument spilled into the parking lot, their voices carrying across manicured lawns. "I thought revenge would feel better than this," I admitted. Ben squeezed my hand. "Maybe because it's not about revenge anymore." He was right. This wasn't about hurting them. It was about saving Emma from years of perfectly packaged lies. About breaking cycles of manipulation and secrets. "Take me to Dad's," I said. "My sister needs me." The real kind of need, not the manufactured kind Mother had weaponized all these years. Emma deserved better than their beautiful, poisonous world. And maybe, just maybe, we both deserved a chance at real family. Emma sat cross-legged on Dad's workshop floor, surrounded by sawdust and the ghosts of better days. Her tennis whites were smudged with dirt, her perfect ponytail coming undone, a mirror image of my own unraveling. "Did you know?" she asked, her voice small. "About the other kids?" "Not until recently." I settled beside her, keeping distance between us. "About the same time I found out about the fraud." "The what?" Her head snapped up. Before I could answer, Ben burst through the door. "Sophia, turn on the news. Now." Dad's ancient workshop TV crackled to life. Henry's face filled the screen, standing at a podium outside his corporate headquarters. Mother hovered behind him, her smile stretched too tight. "Allegations are completely unfounded," Henry was saying. "These attacks on my family come from a disturbed individual seeking revenge. My stepdaughter Sophia Martinez has been struggling with mental health issues." The floor seemed to tilt beneath me. Emma grabbed my arm. "He's lying," she whispered. "Right?" "Regret that her delusions have affected innocent parties," Henry continued. "We're working with authorities to address these false claims and get her the help she needs." My phone exploded with notifications. LinkedIn connections disappearing, email alerts about account suspensions, text messages from unknown numbers calling me crazy, unstable, a liar. "They're burning you," Ben said quietly. "Professional reputation, social media, everything." Dad emerged from his office, face grim. "The lawyer called. Henry's team is filing a temporary restraining order. They're claiming you're a danger to Emma." "What?" Emma shot to her feet. "No, I won't let them." "You don't have a choice," I cut in. "You're still a minor. They're your legal guardians." "But the photos, the birth certificate." "Fabricated by an unstable mind," Henry's voice continued from the TV. "We only hope Sophia gets the treatment she needs." My hands wouldn't stop shaking. Everything I'd built, every piece of evidence, every careful plan, destroyed by 3 minutes of prime-time character assassination. "I have to go," Emma said suddenly, checking her phone. "Mom's threatening to call the police if I don't come home." "Emma, I believe you," she said fiercely. "But I need time. To think. To figure out." She left, taking with her my last chance at justice. Or maybe redemption. I wasn't sure anymore. Ben switched off the TV. "We'll fight this. I'll call in favors, get testimonies." "From who?" My laugh sounded hollow. The employees too scared to lose their jobs? The society friends who just watched Mother cry crocodile tears on camera? The half-siblings who don't even know I exist? Then we'll leave, he said. Start fresh somewhere else. They'll follow. Henry won't stop until he's destroyed everything I touch. I pulled away from his reaching hand. Maybe you should distance yourself too. Save your career while you can. Sophia. Dad's voice carried the weight of years watching me fight impossible battles. Don't push away the people who love you. That's what they want. My phone buzzed again. A text from Mother. Come home, darling. We'll get you the best doctors. Make this all go away. Another from Henry. Last chance. Sign the retraction papers. Or the restraining order includes your father's business. The final one from Emma. They're sending me to Europe early. Gap year program. I'm sorry. I'll find a way to contact you when I can. Just like that, they'd taken everything. My reputation. My sister. My future. Even my past was being rewritten, turned into a cautionary tale of mental instability and family tragedy. I need air, I managed, heading for the door. Where are you going? Ben called after me. To do what crazy people do best. I grabbed my car keys. Something stupid. Dad stepped forward. Sophia. Don't worry. I forced a smile that felt like breaking glass. I'm not going to hurt anyone. That's their job. I left before they could stop me, their voices fading behind the sound of my own heartbeat. Henry wanted crazy. Fine. Time to show him what rock bottom really looked like. Because the thing about having nothing left to lose, it makes you really, really dangerous. 3 years passed like a slow-motion car crash. I rebuilt my life piece by piece, starting with a small consulting firm that specialized in corporate whistleblower cases. Karma has a way of paying dividends. The call came on a Tuesday. Mother's number, but not her usual time for monthly guilt trips. Henry's gone. Her voice cracked. He took everything. I watched rain streak down my office window, 30 stories above the city where I'd once felt so small. Define everything. The accounts are frozen. The house is in foreclosure. Emma's trust fund. She broke off, choking back what might have been a sob. Please, Sophia, I need you. Like I needed you. I deserve that. But there's something else, something you should see. An hour later, I stood in my childhood home's foyer, where crystal chandeliers had been replaced by dust-covered wires. Mother sat in her favourite armchair, but the silk was worn, the stuffing showing through like exposed bones. Here, she handed me a stack of papers with trembling hands. Henry's real records, all of them. I scanned the documents, my breath catching. These aren't copies. Originals. From his private safe. She laughed bitterly. He didn't think I knew the combination. Didn't think I'd notice him moving money for months. Didn't think I'd figure out about the woman in Singapore. Another family. A whole new life. Younger wife, clean slate. She gestured around the empty room. This was just the dress rehearsal. My phone buzzed. Ben checking in. I ignored it. Why show me this now? Because you were right. Mother stood, swaying slightly. About everything. The fraud, the lies, the way we treated you. I thought I was protecting our family's future. Instead, I helped him destroy it. And Emma? In Paris, refusing my calls. Her smile was a broken thing. She's more like you than I ever realized. I set the papers down. What do you want from me? Help me destroy him. She stepped closer, desperation rolling off her in waves. You know how. You've built a whole career on it. We can take everything just like he took from us. Us? The word tasted like acid. There is no us. You made sure of that when you branded me mentally unstable on national television. I was wrong. I was weak. I was exactly who you've always been. I moved toward the door. Someone who only reaches out when they need something. Sophia, please. She grabbed my arm. I'm your mother. No. I pulled free. You're Henry's victim, just like I was. Just like Emma. The difference is I stopped being a victim 3 years ago. What are you going to do with the documents? I picked up the papers again, feeling their weight. Real evidence, enough to bury Henry 10 times over. I'm going to do my job. File them through proper channels. Let the SEC and FBI handle it. I met her eyes. Legally, ethically, the way Dad taught me. That could take years. Yes, and you'll have to find your own way through it, without using me as your revenge weapon. She sank back into her chair, suddenly looking every bit her age. I really did love you, you know. In my way. I know. That's what made it worse. I left her there, surrounded by the ruins of her perfect life. Outside, Ben waited in his truck, just like always. You okay? He asked as I slid in. Call Emma, I said instead of answering. Tell her to check her email in an hour. She deserves to know what's coming. And your mother? I watched the mansion shrink in the side mirror, remembering the girl who once thought love meant proving yourself worthy of it. Some people save themselves, I said finally. Others just look for new saviors. She needs to figure out which one she is. Ben squeezed my hand as we pulled away. Behind us, Mother's silhouette appeared in the window, a lonely figure in an empty house. I didn't look back again. Some chains you break, others you simply let rust away on their own. The headlines splashed across my desk like fallen dominoes. Tech mogul Henry Bradford indicted. Offshore accounts exposed. Corporate fraud ring uncovered. Each one a brick in the wall between past and present. I closed the newspaper as Emma walked into my office, her heels clicking against hardwood. Paris had changed her. Sharper edges, darker eyes, less glitter. They're selling the house, she said, dropping into the chair across from me. Mother's moving into some condo downtown. How is she? Surviving. Teaching tennis to society wives. Emma's laugh held no humour. Apparently, rock bottom has a dress code. I pushed a folder across my desk. Henry's sentencing is next week. The prosecutor wants to know if you'll testify. Will you? No need. The evidence speaks for itself. Emma traced the folder's edge, her perfectly manicured nail catching on a dog-eared corner. I found the others, Henry's other families. 3 boys, 2 girls, all of us replaceable parts in his perfect life machine. Emma, did you know I used to hate you? She met my eyes. For being so strong, for walking away, for seeing through them when I couldn't. The silence stretched between us like old scar tissue. I have something for you, she said finally, pulling an envelope from her bag. From Mother. My hand froze halfway across the desk. I don't want... It's not what you think. Emma pressed the envelope into my palm. Just read it, please. Inside was a single photograph. Me at 6 years old, sitting in Dad's workshop, covered in sawdust, and smiling. On the back, in Mother's elegant script, the last time I saw you truly happy. Before I taught you that love had to be earned. She's in therapy now, Emma said quietly. Real therapy, not the kind with prescription pads and country club recommendations. Good for her. That's it? That's all you have to say? I tucked the photo into my desk drawer. What do you want me to say? That I forgive her? That one moment of self-awareness erases 20 years of conditional love? No. Emma stood, smoothing her designer dress. I want you to say you'll have dinner with me next week. Just us. No Mother, no Henry, no perfect family pretense. Why? Because you're my sister, and I'm done letting other people define what that means. My phone buzzed. Ben, reminding me about dinner with Dad. Friday nights in his workshop, takeout containers balanced on sawhorses, planning our wedding between his woodworking projects. Simple. Real. Okay, I said. Dinner. But somewhere new. No old haunts. Emma smiled. A real smile, not the society page version. I know a place. Very unmother approved. After she left, I opened my laptop to finish the day's work. Another whistleblower case waited in my inbox. Another family's secrets ready to explode. But these weren't my battles anymore. These weren't my ghosts. Dad's latest creation sat on my desk, a small wooden box with intricate inlays. Inside, he'd carved words into the lid. Some things break to build stronger things. I placed Mother's photo inside, next to the old house key I never returned. Not everything needed to be fixed. Not every broken thing needed to be rebuilt. Sometimes the cracks themselves became the story, proof that you survived, that you chose your own way of healing. My office door opened again. Ben, early for our dinner with Dad. "Ready to go?" he asked. I looked around my office, at the headlines, the case files, the wooden box holding the remnants of my old life. Through the window, I could just see the spire of my mother's new condo building, a shadow against the setting sun. "Yeah," I said, standing. "I'm ready." Some people spend their whole lives trying to fix broken families. Others learn to build new ones from scratch. The trick is knowing the difference and having the courage to choose your own blueprint. I turned off the lights and closed the door, leaving the ghosts behind in the darkness where they belonged.